Hello and welcome inside Ray Fisher Stadium. You are listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball on the WCBN Student Sports Radio Network. I'm Jeremy Parks alongside Austin Falco, bringing you another Big Ten matchup for the Wolverines this cold, chilly Friday afternoon in Ann Arbor. This is the opener in a three-game set over the weekend against the Indiana Hoosiers. The Michigan Wolverines looking to continue their recent success, a 5-game win streak, coming into this one after a midweek win on Tuesday against the Michigan State Spartans by a final score of 12-4. Austin, Michigan putting Oliver Jaske on the mound so far today. We've seen a little bit in warm-ups, the control trying to get it in there. It's going to be cold and chilly outside today. Jaske has brought that ERA down in his last couple of starts, down to 3.96. What is he going to have to do in this one to keep it close?
He's going to really have to avoid the long ball. That's going to be the big key today. Indiana, very dependent on the long ball, leads the Big Ten in home runs on the season. If he can keep the ball in the yard, should go a long way towards helping Michigan win this one. And a benefit for him, both of Indiana's leading power hitters on the day, Craig Dedelo and Matt Lloyd, the 2 and 4 hitters respectively, both lefties, so they'll be hitting into what has been a pretty strong wind so far coming out of right field.
Indiana comes into this one 3-2 in their last 5. They took 2 out of 3 against the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and then 2 non-conference games. They won against Indiana State last week, and then a midweek matchup this past Wednesday against Butler, in which the Hoosiers fell 7-5. We'll give you the lineup for Indiana to open this one up. They will face Oliver Jaske here in the top of the first. Leading off and playing second base is Tony Butler. Batting second, the left fielder Craig Dedelo. Batting third, the third baseman Luke Miller. Batting fourth, today's designated hitter Matt Lloyd. Batting fifth, the right fielder Logan Sowers. Batting sixth and playing first base Matt Gorski. Batting seventh, the catcher Ryan Feynman. Batting eighth, the shortstop Jeremy Houston. And batting ninth, the center fielder Laren Eustace. We are just about to get underway here as Tony Butler has stepped to the plate. Jaske winds in, readies with the first pitch. A called strike on the inside part of the plate. We are underway at Ray Fisher Stadium. First pitch this evening at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Temperature cloudy and right around 48. The 0-1. That one is swung on deep over towards left center field, ranging back, and that one is gone over the wall. A leadoff home run for the Indiana Hoosiers, courtesy of Tony Butler, and just like that, Indiana takes a 1-0 lead.
And mentioned just pregame about Indiana and the long ball coming out of an unexpected place. It's Butler's first home run of the season, so didn't really expect him to be delivering the home run power in the game. But Indiana, a home run hitting team, already proving that early on against Oliver Jaske.
Right over the left center field fence between Lewis and Slater. They both looked back, didn't give chase. It was well out of here towards that waving American flag out in left center field, and now Oliver Jaske pitching down a run in the top of the first inning as Craig Dedelo steps to the plate. Jaske delivers. First one grounded over down the first base side, just foul. Over the bag, giving chase at first base was Jake Bivens. Dedelo, a much bigger power threat than Tony Butler. 9 home runs on the season, 26 RBIs. He's a .252 hitter overall. Jaske with the 0-1. That one catches the outside black, a well-located pitch. Count now 0-2.
Good to see Jaske locating again. He did it in his last outing against Oklahoma, where he pitched into the 8th inning. It's all about getting ahead in the count, throwing strikes early on.
The 0-2. That one grounded over towards first, grabbed by Bivens, and he will make the play unassisted for the first out of the inning.
Good recovery there in that at-bat by Jaske after giving up that home run to start the game. Comes back and gets Indiana's best power hitter, perhaps, and Craig Dedelo with a little tapper over to first.
Again, it is a cold game here in Ann Arbor today. The temperature has dipped well under 50 degrees, and that will continue to drop into the night. We were talking pregame about whether or not that would be more difficult for the pitchers or the hitters, and so far Oliver Jaske, no long sleeves on, but the wrong side of a leadoff home run. That'll bring the third baseman Miller to the plate. The first pitch bounces up in the dirt for ball 1. Luke Miller, a sophomore, hitting .296 so far this season. That's best for third on the team. 6 home runs, 23 RBIs. The 1-0. This is low again for ball 2. Jaski takes that open stance on the rubber as he looks down towards his catcher, Harrison Wenson. Steps back and delivers. That one is swung on and fouled down the first base side over towards the Indiana bullpen. Count 2-1.
Nice 2-0 pitch there by Jaski. Looked like it had a little bit of tailing action away from the right-handed hitter Miller. Miller thought he was getting something grooved down the middle on 2-0. Instead, had to foul one off the end of the bat.
The 2-1 pitch, swung on and missed. Well behind that pitch was Miller, and after starting in the count 2-0, has come back to a 2-2 count. Jaski with a little room to work, looking for a put-away pitch. The 2-2 swung on and missed. The first strikeout of the game for Oliver Jaski, and the second out of the first inning via the K, swinging for Luke Miller.
And you could tell Miller was just completely confused, had no idea that was coming. It was a pretty run-up-the-mill fastball. I think clocked in there about 91 miles an hour from Jaski. Not something too overpowering, but Miller looking for something off-speed, I guess, on 2-2 was way behind that one.
And that'll bring the designated hitter Matt Lloyd to the plate. Hitting .327 with 8 home runs. A lot of pop in that bat. The first pitch low and away for ball 1. Again, trying to bring the fastball, but understandably wanting to avoid the dangerous bat of Lloyd after already giving up a leadoff home run here in the first to Tony Butler. The 1-0 pitch. Off speed catches the outer black of the plate. Evens the count at 1-1.
When the fastball's not doing it for you, bring that big looping curveball that Oliver Jaski has. Did it very effectively there on 1-0. Lloyd not looking for that one. Got himself a nice easy strike to even things up.
Jaski gets his pitch from Wenson, winds and delivers with the 1-1, swung on and fouled back behind us here in the press box. Back towards the parking lot, count now 1-2.
And that 1-1, or the 1-0 breaking ball rather, used to set up that fastball, had Lloyd behind one now after the first pitch of the at-bat. Lloyd looked able to time up the fastball a little bit better.
And the 1-2. Swung on and fouled down the third base side. Able to fight that one off barely was Lloyd. A tempting pitch from Jaski as he stays alive. 2 outs in the inning. Base paths are clear. Indiana with an early 1-0 lead.
So far, nice job mixing speeds in the at-bat for Jaski. Going fastball, curveball. See what he goes to here with the 5th pitch.
The 1-2. That one off the mask of Wenson after Lloyd got just a hair of that pitch. And Wenson will shake it off as he pops the mask, and home plate umpire David Condon will take a slow walk over to the mound to give Wenson a little bit of time to recover. David Condon is your home plate umpire today. Over at first base, Joel Huspakoda, and over at third, Brent Rice. The 1-2. That one swung on and again fouled down the first base side. Lloyd turning this one into an extended at-bat. Jaski looking for something to put by him.
And Jaski pulling out all the tools in his arsenal right now. Went to a changeup for the first time in the at-bat there after alternating fastballs and curveballs. Trying to change speeds to get Matt Lloyd here. Might have to change eye level or something else because not quite working.
Jaski with another 1-2. That's a called strike 3 on the inside part of the plate. It came from outside back in on Lloyd, and he decided not to offer. A backwards K will end the inning, but not before Indiana gets on the board first with a solo leadoff home run from the second baseman Tony Butler. We head to the bottom of the first. The Indiana Hoosiers lead the Michigan Wolverines 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network.
Really encouraging sign there that we saw Oliver Jaski able to settle in extremely nicely after getting up that leadoff home run. Aside from that one pitch, that one swing from Indiana, it looked like he had the Hoosier hitters off balance really the entire inning, mixing speeds, using everything he has in his arsenal. Really impressive job. You see why he's garnering some major league attention from a few teams. They come out to watch every once in a while when he comes to start. The ability to almost catch you off guard with the fastball. It's not anything over spectacular. It only comes in there around 91, 92 miles an hour maybe, but when he partners it with a changeup that has some really nice movement and that curveball with the change of speeds and the movement on that it has, he's a heck of a pitcher.
And now it's time for your Underground Printing Michigan lineup in today's game. No changes for the Wolverines. Leading off, playing second, Akeo Thomas. Batting second in center field, Johnny Slater. Batting third, the shortstop, Michael Berdar. Batting fourth, the third baseman, Drew Lugbauer. Batting fifth in left, Miles Lewis. Batting sixth, over at first base, Jake Bivens. Batting seventh, today's designated hitter, Nick Poirier. Batting eighth in right field, Jonathan Engelman. And batting ninth, the catcher, Harrison Wenson. They will face the right-handed offerings of Jonathan Stiver for the Indiana Hoosiers, a sophomore coming into this game with an ERA of 6 even in 33 innings of work. Opponents are hitting a hot 326 against Stiver on the season. And speaking of leadoff offense for these teams, the man that I'm sure Stiver does not want to see leading off at the plate is Akeo Thomas. The reason being he is hitting .500 in that leadoff position so far this year for the Wolverines. The first pitch to Thomas. Inside, catches the plate for a called strike one.
And perhaps even more impressive about hitting .500 when you're leading off is Akeo Thomas likes to take a lot of strikes and puts himself down on the count a few times. So get down 0-2 and still find a way to get on base with a base hitter, work a nice long at bat and draw a walk.
Stiver delivers the 0-1. That one is up high at the letters on the 5'8" Akeo Thomas. Count evens at 1-1. Stiver standing in there, big righty at 6-1. The 1-1 pitch. Big cut and a miss from Thomas. He got right on top of that one. A big upcut swing. And the count now 1-2.
Thomas trying to answer his counterpart Butler there and put one over that left field wall.
Stiver looks down towards his catcher Feynman, and a quick step off the rubber. Didn't like the sign. Thomas steps out for time, and he steps back in the box now. That back foot planted on the back white chalk in the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled back as Thomas stays alive 1-2. It was in that Tuesday game against the Michigan State Spartans. We saw Akeo Thomas in a 12-pitch whale of an at-bat that ended in an RBI single into left field. Thomas will fight all he can to extend these counts and wait until he sees something that he wants to hit. And now an extended time call as he's going to walk back towards the dugout.
And something that doesn't quite look right in this at-bat. After a couple pitches, he was stepping out, trying to adjust. I don't know if he was looking at the signs he has around his belt or what exactly was going on, but it looks to be taking a little extra time between pitches here and decided just to walk over to the dugout.
An interesting scene as he is standing on the top step of the dugout with head coach Eric Bakich, trying to see if maybe there's something wrong with the bat that he's using. It seems like they're maybe looking at the grip tape on his bat or maybe something with his hand. Meanwhile, Stiver stands out on the mound. Home plate umpire David Condon has not called them back yet. Looks like we may have a medical staff member also up on that top step with Eric Bakich and Akeo Thomas, who currently sits in a 1-2 count, and now it looks like they're taking a look at his left hand.
Yeah, something just doesn't quite look like he looked uncomfortable doing that bat, like you just said, and looks like they are looking indeed at that left hand of Akeo Thomas. The bottom hand on the bat there takes a lot of impact when you put the bat on the ball.
Thomas, a huge production piece for the Wolverines, hitting .366 overall this season. And as we already mentioned, .500 in that leadoff position. And now heading over to check in is home plate umpire David Condon. We'll have a quick word with Thomas, Coach Eric Bakich, the medical staff, and Thomas is still just kind of standing around, taking a few steps here and there at the dugout. And he takes a few steps back into the field, still not headed towards the batter's box, and finally will do so.
It looks like the problem might be with the actual grip on the at-bat. He was taking a couple of swings to see what his follow-through kind of looked like and couple slow swings to note.
Could be a blister on the hand of some kind. They were looking at his left hand. It didn't look like they brought out any glue. No real medical work done to Thomas's hand as he steps back into the batter's box in a 1-2 count. And Stiver, after an extended break, delivers, swung on and grounded over towards short. It's fielded by Houston. Chop over to first, the throw not in time as the speedy Akeo Thomas beats it out. The throw from short, Houston, not great. A 3-hop throw over to first. The wind perhaps knocking it down a little bit, but Akeo Thomas, despite whatever troubles he's having with his left hand, now stands on first base with a leadoff infield single.
And impressive about that, besides the throw from Houston, is Akeo Thomas looked like he spun his wheels a bit out of the box. As soon as he was hit towards that hole, I looked over at Akeo Thomas to see how far on the line he was. He was barely out of the box. It looked like he didn't quite get out of there as quick as he normally does. But like you said, that 3-hop throw from Houston, I don't know if it just slipped out of his hand or if he just happened to spike it or what, but allowed Akeo Thomas to reach base.
That'll bring Johnny Slater to the plate. The first pitch to Slater, a called strike on the outside part of the plate. Slater in that Tuesday game against the Spartans, 4 doubles and 4 RBIs. An absolutely torrid game for the Wolverines center fielder. The only mistake he made was in the first inning on a poor slide that allowed the Spartans to score a run. The 0-1 misses outside with the fastball, 1-1.
And going back to last week's series, Slater's got 11 hits in his last 4 games. It's fair to say the hottest hitter in the Wolverine lineup, bar none at this point.
The average is perked up to .331. 2 home runs, a whopping 35 RBIs. The 1-1 swung on that, belted over towards left field, giving chase is Didolo. He's working over towards foul territory where it will get out of play. It had home run distance, but the wind pushing right to left tailed it foul.
Yeah, Slater, going back to that corner, he had, of those 4 doubles, 2 of them were to left center, almost down the left field line, able to show some extra base power to the opposite field, which is extremely valuable on a cold day like today.
The 1-2, that misses off the plate well outside. Count now 2-2. Slater takes a half step up in the box in a 2-2 count. Thomas taking the lead off of first. The 2-2 swung on, grounded foul down the first base side. Good job by Slater to fight that one off. It was dipping low into the zone, just able to get on top of it enough to fight it away foul.
Yeah, it was a nice breaking ball there by Stever. Had Slater out in front, but Slater did a really nice job of keeping that bat in the zone or keeping that swing just long enough to get a piece of it.
The 2-2 swung on and missed, and a quick throw over to first is not in time, but a swinging strikeout for Johnny Slater. Keeping a half eye on our natural microphone sitting out here, we have a young Michigan fan standing right in front of it. Want to make sure that we can continue to bring you the natural sounds here at Ray Fisher Stadium. But nonetheless, a strikeout for Johnny Slater is the first out of the inning. Akeo Thomas still stands on first, and that'll bring the shortstop Michael Berdard to the plate. Stever looks down, gets his sign, and a quick throw over to first. Thomas does not have to dive as he gets back in standing up.
Yeah, Akeo Thomas, I haven't really noticed him taking a big lead at all. Seems to be taking very moderate, almost conservative leads over that first, which is kind of unlike him.
The first pitch, called strike inside. Coming in at 59 miles an hour, took a good bit off of that breaking ball. Count 0-1.
Yeah, nice breaking ball there. A lot of times hitters aren't looking for that off-speed pitch, the first pitch of the at-bat, but Berdard, nonetheless, ended up having to take that one.
The 0-1, that one swung on, ground over towards first. Unable to make the play is Gorski as it squirts into right field. Rounding second and headed for third is Thomas. He will get in standing up. And a defensive gaff from the Indiana first baseman, Matt Gorski. That one was grounded right to him. He could not make the play on one knee. And that'll now leave Wolverines at the corners with one out.
A little bit of generous home scoring there. Ended up giving Berdard a single on that one. It looked like a tailor-made double play ball to first base. All Gorski had to do was field it, and He's going to be able to throw over to second, get a Teo Thomas in plenty of time, and in all likelihood, Berdar would not have beat out the relay with how hard that ball was hit.
That will bring Drew Lugbauer to the plate. A cold day on Tuesday, the only Wolverine without a hit in that game in the starting lineup. His average at 296, but the power numbers don't lie. 11 home runs, 48 RBIs for the Wolverines' third baseman, and a big opportunity to get Michigan right back in this game. Down a run, but with runners at first and third and one out.
Yeah, you saw Feynman go out to talk to his pitcher before facing Lugbauer. It goes to show you, even if he is cold, he garners the respect of the opposing team.
First pitch dips below the zone for ball one.
Yeah, Lugbauer leads the Big Ten in runs batted in with his 48 that he has on the season. He's got a nice chance here to knock in number 49.
The 1-0. That one misses just outside. A well-placed pitch from Stever does not get the call, held there for an extra beat by Feynman. Home plate umpire David Condon does not give. The count now 2-0 on Drew Lugbauer.
Hitters count here. Would not be surprised to see Stever go with that off-speed pitch. We saw him go first pitch to Berdar with it. Try to catch Drew Lugbauer out in front.
And the 2-0. That's a well-placed pitch right over the plate for the first strike of the at-bat. The count now 2-1.
And there was that off-speed pitch to Lugbauer. A lot of times you fall behind on these power hitters. They're looking in one spot for a fastball, so you can sneak one by if you go off-speed.
The 2-1 pitch swung on, grounded over towards second base. The play is made. 1 and 2. They turn the double play in time. 6-4-3 to end the inning. Michigan will fail to score despite having runners on first and third with one out. We head to the top of the second. The Indiana Hoosiers lead the Michigan Wolverines by a score of 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network.
Just an unfortunate, really timing there, that ground ball from Michigan. After you got leadoff hitter Teo Thomas on, ground ball probably should have been a double play. Berdar ended up also reaching in the Lugbauer just directly at the second baseman, Butler over there. Just poor timing there. It's not anything you can really do about it for the Wolverines, but you got to credit the pitcher for Indiana, Stever, of being able to recover despite that couple mishaps in the field by his shortstop and first baseman there early on.
And I should say, quick scoring change. It was 4-6-3 double play. It was Thomas to Berdar, going with the Michigan 4-6-3. It was Butler over to Houston, over to Gorski at first to end the inning. The problem with technology, it flashes too quickly.
Technology's already ahead of us all.
As Jaski steps back to the mound.
And Jaski did a nice job recovering, as did his counterpart Steve. That's been the theme of the day in the first inning, is recovering despite some early mishaps.
And I am waiting to see if Teo Thomas comes out to play second base here. I'll tell you, when he was standing on third, I took a look over at him. He had a glove off of that left hand and didn't even take a lead off of third, just stood on the bag and continued to look at his hand the entire time.
Yeah, he's yet to try it out there. Everybody else in the field has. It looks like in the dugout they're looking back, I'm assuming it's at Thomas and seeing whether he's going to be good to go, or if we might see maybe Jimmy Kerr come in and man that second base spot.
Could be a possibility, a good possibility, as Teo Thomas is still in the dugout, and nonetheless, it looks like he's about to slide a glove onto that hand and then get his leather glove on top as he trots back out towards Michael Berdar, gets a high five at short, and heads back towards his fielding position at second. Did not take any warm-up throws in that middle inning, but will stand back with 1 foot on the grass, playing fairly deep here. And starting off the inning for Indiana will be the right fielder, Logan Sowers. Sowers, a tall hitter as he stands in that righty batter's box. The first pitch misses for ball one.
And I'm not a doctor, we're a little ways up here, but if I was guessing, I'd say something might be up with the base of the hand around the wrist of Teo Thomas, based on it looked like he has a little tape around that wrist area.
The 1-0. Big cut, big miss as that one dipped out of the zone. Count evens at 1-1. And Akeo Thomas did take that really large upcutting swing in that first at bat, and that could be enough to just jostle that wrist to an uncomfortable place.
Right, and based on the way they were kind of working it out, a lot of focus on, especially when you had the bat in his hand, rolling over with that hand. There's a lot of wrist movement there. So
the 1-1 misses outside, 2-1.
So our guess from up here, I guess, is something to do with the wrist. He's playing with the glove off the hand.
And a 2-1 pitch. Again, a big cut and miss from Sowers. Sowers, the right fielder, a junior out of Lafayette, Indiana, hitting .255 on the season with 5 home runs, 23 RBIs. And the 2-2, just missing inside. Count now full, 3-2.
I wonder how that decision to go to Indiana worked out over there in Lafayette.
Homegrown. A lot of these players on this Indiana roster are products of Illinois and Indiana. Not too many throughout that are from any state other than those two. The 3-2 pitch is swung on and hit high into right field. Ranging under it is Engelman, and he will make the grab for the first out of the inning.
A nice shot there by Jaski. He was gotten that full count. Nice shot by Sowers there to run that count full. And ultimately, Jaski, again, by changing speeds, keeping the hitters off balance, was able to retire Sowers to begin the inning.
That'll bring up Matt Gorski, the first baseman, who made an error, an undocumented error in the bottom of the first inning. The first pitch misses low for ball 1. No damage done, though, as he will step to the plate, look to advance upon this Indiana lead. Already sits at 1-0 in the top of the second. The 1-0 pitch. That one catches the lower part of the zone. Good pitch from Jaski. Well located. Count 1-1.
And it's really interesting to watch Jaski's fastball live from the angle he throws it at. It's a very downhill type of delivery.
The 1-1 pitch. Another well-placed pitch from Jaski, this time on the outside. Count now 1-2.
There again, that was that fastball. He almost comes, it's close to straight over the top, but not quite. Just the angle it comes down at, though, has got to throw hitters off a little bit.
The 1-2, a half-hearted swing as it's looped over towards center field. Jumping in to make the play is Slater for the second out of the inning, and Gorski is retired. Didn't really follow through on that swing, just kind of popped it up into center.
Yeah, that's normally when you see that, a hitter's off balance, not expecting something, or has second thoughts on whether or not he should be swinging. That's when you know as a pitcher you're doing something right out there. The hitters look uncomfortable. It's going to be a good day for you.
That'll bring up the catcher Ryan Feynman. First pitch from Jaski to Feynman. That one is knuckled over towards first. The play made by Bivens. And a quick 1-2-3 inning for the Wolverines, and Oliver Jaski retires the Hoosiers, who still lead 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the second inning. Again, you're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network.
Jaski still looking extremely solid after that leadoff home run he gave up to start the game. Ever since then, really locked in, locating well, especially with that fastball. And when you're locating with the fastball, it makes everything else that much more effective. You can bring that breaking ball in. If you're missing just a little bit, you can get away with it because hitters are so weary of maybe that fastball dotting on the outside corner there, or dotting inside on the inside corner. They're looking for something else. Every other pitch you throw is going to be that much better.
And when Jaski stepped onto the mound in this game, opponents were hitting just .223 against him. Not a opponent average stat that really would pair with his ERA of 3.96. Still 5-1 in the win-loss column for Jaski, and he's going to look for a little offensive support here in the bottom of the second. Leading off for the Wolverines will be Miles Lewis, the left fielder, followed by Bivens and Poirier, 5, 6, 7. And no matter where you go in this Michigan lineup, offensive production abounds. We saw that on Tuesday night against the Michigan State Spartans, a game that was fairly slow for the Wolverines to start, fell behind to a 4-3 tally, and then in the 5th inning, putting up a tying run, and then come the 6th and 7th innings, 4 spots in each of those en route to a 12-4 win. Michigan State in that game used 8 different pitchers, and I'll tell you, for a 3-hour and 45-minute game, at least 30 minutes of it was pitching changes for the green and white.
The game just dragged on. The Michigan order was just relentless on any Michigan State pitcher that came in. You were almost guaranteed to get great at-bats out of the first 3 guys you faced, no matter if you're coming in the middle of an inning, to start an inning, or start a game. Just up and down the Michigan lineup, it's you don't get a break.
Miles Lewis steps to the plate. First pitch that he sees from Stever is outside for ball 1.
There's a reason that Michigan leads the Big Ten in batting average and runs scored, and it's because the lineup is just so deep.
The 1-0 pitch. That one comes over the heart of the plate. Breaking ball. Loops in there for strike 1. The count now even at 1 apiece. Lewis had himself a game as well on Tuesday. Couple of extra base hits. And the 1-1. Misses low and outside for ball 2. Quick flash when he stepped into the batter's box of that lustrous blonde mane hidden under that helmet. He's slicked back. The 2-1 pitch from Stever comes inside. Ducking out of the way is Lewis, but a called strike. 2-2. Could not fool the home plate umpire Condon.
No, but you mentioned that luscious mane that Lewis has. Not afraid to show it off. Seems like whenever he's chasing a fly ball out there, that hat comes flying off.
And the 2-2, a big cut and a miss. A good pitch from Stever will produce another strikeout. The first out of the 2nd inning for the Wolverines. And that'll bring up Jake Bivens.
Bivens on the season, when you look at the numbers, seems to be maybe a weak spot in this Wolverine lineup, but really coming around. Had himself a couple hits back on Tuesday. Also drew a walk. Seeing the ball a lot better, you can just tell by the way he confidently steps in there.
First pitch to Bivens in there over the plate for a called strike. Count 0-1. Bivens average up to 277. Still no home runs. 12 RBIs on the year for the Wolverines' first baseman. The 0-1 misses low and inside. Count evens at 1 each. And Stever working quickly now.
Back at the beginning of the year, Bivens was named a third baseman to watch. So, not sure if that's playing into his struggles at all that he's had to transition over to first base full-time this season, but again, looks to be a lot more settled in as the season progresses.
And he fouled the 1-1 back. The count now 1-2 as Stever looks down towards Feynman to get his sign, and he delivers. That one is up at the eyes. Bivens does not swing. 2-2.
One thing Bivens does have going for him is he's not going to chase a whole ton. He has 24 strikeouts on the year, but a lot of it's just swinging and missing it.
And the 2-2. Just got a piece of it, but into the glove for strike 3. The second strikeout of the inning for Stever, his 3rd of the afternoon. And that'll bring it down to the designated hitter, Nick Poirier, with 2 outs in the bottom of the 2nd.
And I was going to say that swinging and missing, got a lot of strikes there, and then Bivens kind of interrupted me of doing just that, talking about just swinging. There's just a couple holes in the swing that you just can't seem to iron out. But with an eye that he has and his ability to hit the ball hard, he'll come around sooner rather than later.
And the first pitch to Poirier, that one swung on hard down the third base line and foul.
Speaking of hitting the ball hard, the argument could be made that Nick Poirier is one of the best pure hitters when you're talking about hitting for average on the Wolverine lineup, and he's sliding in the 7-hole.
And the 0-1. That one swung on again down that third base side into the netting. And quickly the count runs 0-2 on the designated hitter, Nick Poirier. A .321 hitter on the season with 2 home runs and 15 RBIs. 5 total extra base hits. The 0-2. Swung on and looped over towards left field. Giving chase is Didolo over towards foul territory. He will make the grab right shy of the Michigan bullpen to end the inning. A quick 1-2-3 inning for the Wolverines as well. We head to the top of the third. The Indiana Hoosiers lead by a score of 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network.
Stever that inning, almost telling Jaski, anything you can do, I can do better. Just really looks settled in there, looks very confident out there on the mound. Just throwing strikes, and that's really the way to beat this Wolverine order. Nobody in the order is afraid of taking a walk. They'll work counts, get deep in the count, wait for pitches they like to hit, but if you're getting ahead of them 0-2 and getting ahead of them 1-2 in the count, there's not a whole lot they can do. They have to swing at the pitches you want them to swing at, and Stever's executed that strategy to perfection so far, especially in that second inning.
And I'll tell you what, the stat line for Stever would not indicate that he would be able to shut down a lineup as strong as the Wolverines have. Again, a 6 ERA coming into this game, and opponents were hitting a blistering .326 against him, but thus far, with the exception of one hit to Akeo Thomas on an infield single in the first inning and a gaff from Gorski at first that got a few runners on, he has been spotless thus far. Michigan, though a team that likes to go through the lineup once, start to get a feel for the pitcher, and then start to do their damage. It was Makma for the Spartans on Tuesday who got to go 4 full, but he could do no more after the Wolverines put up 5 on him to end that game.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times already this season for the Wolverines doing exactly that. The opposing pitcher looks really good, really locked in the first time through the order, and then it's almost like they flip a switch the second time through and decide to score double-digit runs.
The hitter gets a bit of an eye. Leading off the inning for the Hoosiers will be the shortstop Houston, followed by Eustace and Butler, 8-9-1. Houston's at the plate. The first pitch is in the dirt. Good block by Wenson. Count 1-0.
It looks like Akeo Thomas couldn't quite fight through the pain out there. Jimmy Curzon over at second base just came out for this defensive inning.
And the 1-0. Called strike on the outside part of the plate. Good pitch from Jaski. Count evens at 1-1. The short-statured Jeremy Houston, a .292 hitter. And the 1-1. Good breaking ball off speed from Jaski as that loops in to bring the count 1-2.
And when you've got a good breaking ball, we saw from Tommy Henry last week, or just on Tuesday this week, when you have a good breaking ball and you can throw it in unconventional counts, it goes miles towards you being that much more effective on the mound.
And the 1-2 fouled back into the netting. Staying alive at 1-2 is Houston as Jaski takes his time.
And all of a sudden, you go with the breaking ball on 1-1. You can come back with that fastball on 1-2, and you have the hitter Houston behind it and just barely able to get a piece of it.
And the 1-2. Swung on and missed. Another strikeout for Jaski, his third of the game. The first out of the third inning as Jeremy Houston heads back to the dugout.
And just when you think you've got Oliver Jaski figured out when you're standing at the plate, he drops a changeup that starts at the knees and just completely drops off the table on you, and you're left walking back to the dugout thinking, what the heck did I just see?
And that'll bring up the 9-hitter, the center fielder, Laren Eustace. First pitch to Eustace. Good fastball there, came outside back in for strike 1.
Harrison wants to do a nice job framing that pitch on the outside corner, giving home plate umpire David Condon a real nice look at that.
The 0-1. That one misses outside. Count even at 1-1. 1 out in the inning. Base paths are clear. Indiana with a 1-0 lead, courtesy of a leadoff home run in this game from Tony Butler, who waits on deck. The 1-1 pitch. That's a good one right over the heart of the plate. Count 1-2.
Very similar sequence, 1-1 curveball there from Jaski. He went with the fastball to Houston. See if he goes to the same plan of attack here against Eustace.
The 1-2. Swung on, grounded over towards first. Gathered by Bivens. He will make another unassisted play at first base for the second out of the inning. As Eustace is retired and Indiana has gone through the lineup once with 1 run. 2 outs in the inning, and back to the 1-hitter in Tony Butler, who got this one going with a solo home run to left center field back in the first.
And aside from Butler back in that first inning, every hitter, no one's really been able to make hard contact off of Oliver Jaski. As we saw yet again with Eustace just tapping one over to Bivens at first.
And the first pitch over the plate for strike one. We'll see how Jaski decides to attack Butler here, how close he will tempt him, and we'll see how swaggy Butler is feeling after that leadoff homer. The 0-1, that one swung on rope right over towards short as Berdar sticks up his glove like the Statue of Liberty and calmly makes the play for the third out of the inning. Butler teed it up again, but just to the wrong place this time. That'll do it for the Hoosiers. Again, a quick 1-2-3 inning for Oliver Jaski in the third. We head to the bottom of the third with the Indiana Hoosiers leading the Michigan Wolverines 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network.
Yeah, and combined with that one there, Butler, I think, has the two hardest hit balls off of Jaski today, and even that one right there looked a lot harder off the bat than it ended up when it reached the glove of Michael Berdar out there. It almost slowed down, almost turned into more of a looping liner by the time it got out there. Perhaps the wind knocking it down some or keeping it up in the air, making it look a little bit softer than it was. But other than Butler, no one from the Indiana lineup one time through able to get some good swings against Oliver Jaski, and that just speaks to his ability to mix speeds. We saw in the at-bat against Houston there, using all three of his pitches effectively, and he did the same thing against Eustace right after we were talking about going with the fastballs and curveballs to get ahead. He dropped the changeup in him that resulted in a little tapper over to Bivens at first. It almost seems like so far today the put-away pitch for Oliver Jaski has been that changeup. He's been using the fastball early on, try to establish that, then bring the curveball in, not to put him away, but just to further the count, put himself ahead before finishing hitters off with that changeup that just disappears.
8-9-1 for the Wolverines. In the bottom of the third, Engelman, Wenson, and Thomas. And we'll see if Akeo Thomas does come out to bat in this inning again. He has been playing in the field after seemingly injuring his left hand or wrist earlier in this one. And back on the mound for the Hoosiers this inning is Jonathan Stever, who to this point has done very well against this talented Michigan lineup.
And Jonathan Engelman was really cold like last weekend and last week before really breaking out a bit in that Tuesday game against Michigan State. Hit the ball hard, only had one hit to show for on the day. They'd have himself a few RBIs, but really just hitting the ball hard, which is a good first indicator that you're about ready to break out of a slump.
And the first pitch of the inning, swung on and missed. An awkward swing from Engelman as Stever gave him a pitch that dropped right out of the zone on the outside part of the plate. Count 0-1. Engelman is standing especially far back in that batter's box, his back foot beyond the back white line, trying to stay ahead of Stever's offerings. The 0-1 swung on and fouled back into the netting behind home plate, and quickly the count is 0-2 on the Wolverines' right fielder.
And in response to Engelman standing far back in that box, Stever starts him off with looked to be almost a slider, maybe a curveball, and then a changeup there the first couple of pitches. So Engelman especially ahead of those off-speed pitches.
The 0-2, that one high, sails above Engelman's helmet, and a well-gathered pitch from Feynman, the catcher. The count now 1-2, and yeah, you think with Engelman sitting back that far, he's got to be trying to sit fastball and stay ahead. We'll see if Stever goes back to the off-speed. The 1-2, swung on, tapped foul right off the foot of Engelman, and those are painful, especially in the cold here.
Yeah, that's definitely painful. He's got the shield over the shin and ankle area, but sometimes it's able to find that spot right at the toe where it doesn't quite cover up the shoe, and takes you a second. Got to walk around and shake that one off before you can step back in there.
And the sting will stay a bit longer in these sub-50 temperatures on a cool Friday evening in Ann Arbor. Ready to step back into the box now is Engelman. The count is still 1-2. Stever shakes one off, brings it home. That one is swung on in foul territory. Looking over is the first baseman, Gorski. He ranges over and makes the grab in fair play for the first out of the inning.
And Engelman finally got that fastball. It seemed like he was waiting for that one just a little too far upstairs, got underneath it, ended up resulting in a nice easy out for the Hoosiers.
Perhaps had a bit trouble spotting it at first. Very cloudy skies in Ann Arbor. The lights are on, although the sun is a good ways from going down. That'll bring up the catcher, Harrison Wenson, hitting .205 on the season. The first pitch to Wenson. Swung on, fouled back down the first base side, I should say, into the Indiana dugout.
Wenson with that big uppercut swing, got underneath that ball. If he's gonna hit one out today, now would probably be the time to do it. That wind blowing near that left field corner. If you can put one into left, it might hook it towards the shorter part down the line.
And Wenson steps back for the 0-1. That one misses outside. Tailing away from inside out. Count evens at 1-1.
And really the way to combat Harrison Wenson with that big uppercut swing, likes to pull the ball, is to throw those pitches that move away from him.
1-1 pitch. Chopped back foul behind home plate. The count now 1-2.
Wenson's been ahead of the two pitches he's swung at today, or so far in this at-bat. Would not be surprised to see him get another off-speed pitch with how uncomfortable he's looked.
The 1-2. That one bounces in the dirt into the chest protector of Feynman. Count now 2-2.
He did get another off-speed pitch there, but wasn't particularly close to the zone. Wenson not really one to chase, especially pitches that missed by a wide margin.
And the 2-2 from Stever. That one chopped foul down the third base side. Wenson stays alive at 2-2. As always, we mentioned it, he's not in the lineup particularly for his offensive power. It's what he can do behind the plate that keeps Harrison Wenson in this Michigan lineup day in and day out.
Yeah, he's really just a maestro back there, managing all the pitchers when he's behind the plate. And
the 2-2. Called strike three on the lower part of the zone. Wenson doesn't like the call, looks back, and will be forced to head back to the dugout. The second out of the inning, a backwards K that catches Harrison Wenson off guard. And as I might have suspected here, Austin, we now have Johnny Kerr stepping to the plate in lieu of Akeo Thomas.
Yeah, and Kerr came out to play second base in that last half inning on the field. Evident Akeo Thomas, who recently came back from the indoor training facility here with what looked like to be a jacket around his hand, trying to keep it warm or something, couldn't quite tell, but definitely a big blow to the Michigan lineup. Akeo Thomas just so good at getting on base and starting rallies.
First pitch to Kerr misses for ball one as Stever readies with the 1-0. That one comes right back across the plate to even the count at 1 apiece.
One benefit occurs is a different look for Stever from that left-handed side.
And the 1-1 grounded right back up the middle between short and second, and a two-out single for the new man, Johnny Kerr.
Akeo Thomas.
Jimmy Kerr.
You don't need Akeo Thomas out there when Jimmy Kerr comes in and roasts one right back up the middle. Really nice piece of hitting there by Kerr to find a pitch he could drive and shoot it right back up past Stever, making that transition from Thomas to Kerr that much easier for the Wolverines.
And that'll bring up Johnny Slater, trying to continue a two-out rally for the Wolverines in the bottom of the third inning. Slater struck out in his first at-bat against Stever. And the first pitch. Check swing. Caught the outside part of the plate anyways. Strike 0-1.
And Slater just never seemed to be able to gauge Stever in that first at-bat.
The 0-1 pitch. That one swung on into left. It'll bounce right in front of the left fielder, Didolo, as he will shoot it back in. Kerr advances to second, but no further. And back-to-back singles for Kerr and Slater with two outs here in the bottom of the third.
And that one was just a rope to left from Slater. Just as I said, he wasn't quite able to figure out Stever in his first at-bat. He quickly figures him out here in the second at-bat. Just needed that extra pitch to see him, and stays hot with a scorching single.
And now Michael Berdar stepping to the plate with a runner in scoring position. And Stever trying to get out of the bottom of the third with the 1-0 lead intact. The first pitch to Berdar inside for a called strike.
The second time in as many at-bats that Stever started Berdar out with that breaking ball on the inside part of the plate.
See if he comes back with the off-speed again here in the 0-1 count. Delivers. That one a fastball that misses outside, 1-1.
It looked like pretty much the same strategy he went to last time against Berdar. That breaking ball on the inside part of the plate, the fastball away. Last time Berdar was able to shoot one past the first baseman over there, Gorski. This time missed far enough off the plate that Berdar didn't really have a thought about swinging.
The 1-1. Swung on foul down the first base side and into the Indiana bullpen. The count 1-2.
And this is where Berdar becomes that much more dangerous if you're a pitcher. Just when you think you have the advantage, up 1-2, Berdar, one of the best in the game, one of the best in the Big Ten right now at staying alive when he's got 2 strikes on him.
Stever looks down and delivers. That one misses low and outside. The count now 2-2. As Berdar watches that one all the way into the mitt of Feynman.
And it's an eye like that, watching that ball all the way in, locking in with 2 strikes, that results in only 12 strikeouts and over 150 at-bats on the season.
And the 2-2 swung on foul back behind home plate. Count remains 2-2 on the Wolverine shortstop, Michael Berdar, who had a single in his first at-bat back in the first inning under the glove of the first baseman Gorski in that one. Stever looks back down and delivers. The 2-2 swung on and popped up in the infield. Charging in as the second baseman Butler, finally ranging over to make the play as the third baseman Miller, and that'll end the inning. The Wolverines threaten with 2 singles but do not score. We head to the top of the 4th with the Indiana Hoosiers leading the Michigan Wolverines by a score of 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network.
And Berdar's going to be kicking himself about that one. Got a pitch to hit. Did a nice job working the count, fouling off that 2-strike pitch, watching another one. He finally got one in the zone from Stever that looked like he could really do some damage, put the Wolverines on the board. Instead, got under it, popped it up, like we saw a bit from Jonathan Engelman, who was waiting for that fastball, and then just barely got under it. So far, the theme of the day for the Wolverine hitters is just missing some of these good pitches. The exception of a couple of hard-hit singles, haven't been able to really do anything against Jonathan Stever. The good news for the Wolverines, the same can be said about the Indiana lineup so far against Jaski. Outside of Tony Butler, no one looks particularly good, no one looks particularly comfortable at the plate. Jaski looks like he's settling in, looking like the ace that he is for the Wolverine staff.
And baseball is a 9-inning game, and thankfully for the Wolverines, Oliver Jaski has looked all that much as good. The only exception, the leadoff home run to Tony Butler. It'll be 2-3-4 for the Hoosiers here in the 4th. Didolo, Miller, and Lloyd due up. The throw from Wenson down to second will end the inning break warm-ups. And stepping back to the rubber is Jaski. As the left fielder Didolo comes in, he grounded out to Bivens for an unassisted play at first in his first at-bat.
And interestingly enough, before the game, you and I were talking a bit about how the dangerous middle part of this Indiana order from 2 to 6 is. But
first pitch fouled down the first base side.
But Jaski really, that might be one of the easiest parts of the order he's gone through. He's recorded 2 out of his 3 strikeouts on those 3 and 4 hitters, Miller and Lloyd, who are on deck and in the hole. All the more impressive when you consider he had to mentally regroup after a leadoff home run before facing him.
Jaski with the 0-1. It's grounded. Hard play for Berdar at short. His throw will not be in time on a one-hop over towards Bivens, who was unable to glove it as it dribbled into foul territory, but Didolo will stay at first. An infield single for the Indiana left fielder to start the 4th inning, and that'll bring up the third baseman, Luke Miller.
And Berdar shaded over towards that right side against Didolo, who leads the Indiana team in home runs, perhaps expecting him to pull one on the ground out left side, or to that right side rather. Bernard did a really nice job ranging over, and he's one of the best that I've seen at backhanding those balls in the hole. He did it again there. Couldn't quite get enough on that jump throw to retire Didolo, though.
Tried to make the Jeter hop. The first pitch to Miller, uncomfortable swing and a miss on a fastball that was outside for a 0-1 count.
And uncomfortable was pretty generous there as Jaski started him off with that disappearing changeup, and I think Miller's swing was done by the time it hit Wenson's glove.
A light wave of the bat for the first strike. Time called by Miller as he will step out. He's a .294 hitter on the season with 6 home runs, but he struck out in his first at-bat back in the first. Jaski with the 0-1. Called strike in the lower part of the zone, and quickly the count is 0-2 on the third baseman, Miller.
After starting off with that changeup, had Miller so far off guard, Jaski just pounds one in there on the inside corner. There's nothing Miller can do on that pitch.
And the 0-2. That one swung on in foul territory. Ranging over is Bivens. If it stays in play, he's under it, and he makes the grab for the first out of the inning. And Miller is retired on the foul out.
And Jaski really made that look easy against a pretty good hitter there in Luke Miller. Just textbook of keeping a hitter off balance by changing speeds there. Trend we've seen a lot so far in the early innings from Jaski. Part of what makes him so good is his ability to throw those 3 pitches effectively, all at varying speeds, throwing the hitters all off with their timing.
That'll bring up the cleanup hitter, the DH, Lloyd. First pitch, off speed, waving out in front of it is Lloyd, and he misses the count 0-1.
And there, yeah, again, just off-speed pitch had Lloyd way out in front of that ball. Goes back to the idea of pitching backwards here, getting ahead with your breaking ball and finishing someone off with your fastball. See if Jaski decides to go with that here.
Looks down and delivers the 0-1. That one, a fastball that misses off the outside part of the plate and low. The count 1-1.
Trying to stay away from the powerful lefty Lloyd there by trying to dot that outside corner around the knee area. Good thing there's a lot of times if you're trying to throw down there, the only misses you're going to have are missing low where Lloyd can't do much damage.
And the 1-1, a quick throw back over to first where Didolo scampers back standing up. Greg Didolo is not a base-stealing threat by any means. He's 1 for 2 on the season in stolen base attempts. And the Wolverines with the strong arm of Harrison Wenson behind the plate, further discouraging that effort. The 1-1, a good breaking ball on the inside edge for a called strike 2. The count now 1-2 on Matt Lloyd.
That breaking ball inside. I'd be looking fastball on the inside part of the plate here if I'm Oliver Jaski after perhaps backing Lloyd off a little bit.
The 1-2 pitch swung on, just a piece of that as it drops dead right in front of home plate. Foul. Count remains 1-2.
Instead, Jaski over the breaking ball. Looked like Wenson was set up outside, maybe a little off the plate. That one came back inside into a place where Lloyd might be able to do some damage with it. Little surprise there. Still waiting on that fastball to try to put Lloyd away.
And Jaski looks down to Wenson. Another throw over to first. And Didolo takes one step back to the bag and standing up. Count 1-2 still on Lloyd. 1 out on the inning. The lone runner Didolo on first. Indiana leads 1-0 in the top of the 4th. Winds and delivers. Swung on and missed. A filthy breaking ball, and again Lloyd out in front of it with a wave and a miss. Another strikeout for Oliver Jaski, his 4th of the game, and the 2nd out of the 4th inning. It'll bring up the right fielder Logan Sowers with 2 outs.
After the changeup was featured really over the first 3 innings from Jaski, it looks like that curveball is his go-to pitch so far in the inning.
First pitch to Sowers, grounded over towards third, gloved by Lugbauer. The throw over to Bivens at first is in time by a couple of steps, and that'll end the inning. Indiana reaches Didolo on an infield single, but he does not get any further than first. We head to the bottom of the fourth inning with the Indiana Hoosiers leading the Michigan Wolverines by a score of 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network.
You mentioned how good so far that Oliver Jaski has looked since settling in after that leadoff homer, and a good sign for the Wolverines. Only 50 pitches through 4 innings. We saw him work well over 100 pitches last weekend against Oklahoma, worked himself into the 8th inning. Wolverines do have a shutdown bullpen, an extremely good bullpen back there with plenty of arms they can go to. When you're talking about a weekend series, it's always good if your starter can take you deep in the ball game, which if early indications, or based on the early indications here from Oliver Jassy, it looks like he'll be able to do that today and do it effectively. Something we've become accustomed to seeing. He's really taken over that #1 ace role for the Wolverines this season. Nothing to scoff at the players behind him. I think Ryan Newtoff will plan on going tomorrow, and I think right now the probable is Michael Hendrickson for Sunday's game, who we saw on Tuesday against Michigan State. Not to mention Alec Renard, who got a win in that Oklahoma series as well, the 4-star for the Wolverines. Really deep rotation, and it all starts at the top with Oliver Jaski.
And it'll be 4, 5, 6, Lugbauer, Lewis, and Bivens in the bottom of the fourth for the Maize and Blue. Drew Lugbauer steps to the plate now. And the first pitch from Stever, a breaking ball that misses low just beneath the zone. Count 1-0. The 1-0 pitch. That one swung on over towards left field. Ranging over to try and make the play. Will not be made as it drops in front of Didelo's feet. And a leadoff single in the fourth for Drew Lugbauer. And Michigan has something brewing to begin the fourth.
That one definitely stung over there. Lugbauer shaking his hands over at first base. Got that one off the end of the bat and was able to come away with a base hit. Don't see that too often. But one thing is Stever's been able to locate really well in that outside corner, especially the lefties in this Michigan lineup. When the Michigan hitters have been able to go the other way with the ball, we saw Slater do it earlier. Even Kerr was able to turn on one that finally came inside to him and put it up the middle. The Wolverine hitters are thinking to go away with the ball. I think they might have some more success against Stever.
Now Miles Lewis at the plate. The first pitch low for ball 1. And a hit is a hit is a hit. Lugbauer will take the stinging hands and the base at first. None out in the inning. Lewis trying to do better at the plate this time. Struck out in the second. The 1-0 grounded foul down the first base side, 1-1.
And Miles Lewis out ahead of that one. That breaking ball there. And again, I think if the Wolverines are trying to think middle away here, I think that's the way they're going to have to beat Stever today, is thinking middle away. Because anytime he tries to come inside with that breaking ball, these Wolverine hitters are way in front of it and throws him off for the fastballs.
1-1. Just under the arching midsection of Miles Lewis. Well inside for ball 2. We'll see where Feynman sets up Stever here in the 2-1 count. Not a lot of room to work in the 2-1. A pitch out opportunity, but right over the heart of the plate for a called strike, 2-2. Right up out of the crouch was Feynman. I don't know if you can quite call it a pitch out, but put a lot of speed on it, jumping right up out of the stance, trying to catch Lugbauer stealing, although he's only 1 for 2 on the season.
Lugbauer kind of took off with that pitch and really fooled Feynman there. Thought it might cost him a call. It ended up
2-2, fouled back to the backstop.
And David Condon able to see that that pitch did indeed clip the zone before Feynman came up.
And the 2-2 from Stever is grounded back towards the mound, unable to make the play, and heading over towards second is Lugbauer. Everybody will be safe. And the Wolverines keep it in business. No outs, 2-2. Runners on first and second. Michigan in business here as Austin Falco heads outside to help work with our natural mics. And Drew Lugbauer standing on second. Lewis standing on first with Jake Bivens coming to the plate. As Bivens stands in now. And Falco set to return to the booth here as we've regained our natural sounds at Ray Fisher Stadium. The first pitch misses high and away for ball one. A little bit of fan interference. We have a whole family sitting in the suite section right in front of us, and our natural microphone sitting within distance of a small child who somehow caused the microphone to go unplugged. But no worries, as Michigan still in business with 2 on, none out. And an attempted bunt by Bivens misses. Strike one, count 1-1.
Yeah, and so apparently there was an error with that last pitch there. I did not catch that one, I'll admit that. But we've seen Bivens a couple times this year, notably on Tuesday, laying on a beautiful sacrifice bunt over the left side, I believe it was.
And another bunt right down the third base side, and it will just squeak foul over the chalk. And the count now 1-2. Bivens will have to relent on the bunt opportunities now. Trying to play a little small ball here to get the Wolverines back even. But he'll have to trust his full swing with the count 1-2.
We see head coach Eric Bakich go to this small ball approach, this overly small ball approach almost. There's a bit of small ball just in general in the Wolverines order, the idea of taking walks, just moving station to station, don't really rely on a ton of big home runs.
And the 1-2, that one swung on towards center field. Ranging over a long way is Eustace, and ranging under it is the center fielder Didolo to make the play for the first out. Nobody tagging up, as that one was in relatively shallow left center field.
Yeah, right there. Just, again, just barely hitting under that ball. Bivens did a nice job of taking a pitch on the outside part of the plate and trying to go the other way with it, but couldn't quite make enough solid contact, and that kind of backs the decision of head coach Eric Bakich to try to play that small ball, just try to move runners over and don't rely on squaring a ball up necessarily.
And that will bring the designated hitter Nick Poirier to the plate. First pitch to Poirier, grounded over towards second. This could end the inning. Range over to first. The throw to first not in time. A healthy slide from Lewis will disrupt the throw of the shortstop Houston. And a tailor-made double play ball goes begging. The Wolverines maintain runners at the corners, now with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th.
And key play by Lewis, hustling all the way down to second. Like you said, a nice slide to disrupt the shortstop Houston. A clean slide, wasn't going in spikes up or anything, but was able to disrupt Houston just enough where he couldn't quite make that super quick, super clean transition to try to retire Poirier.
Even if he had taken his time, probably would have had time to make the play at first, but decided not to throw, and now Michigan with a little bit of 2-out offense as an opportunity with Engelman at the plate. The first pitch to Jonathan Engelman is a called strike, 0-1.
And you see you get a little bit of a rally going on here, perhaps a little amped up at the plate, and that's when a pitcher is able to take advantage of with that first pitch, off-speed pitch, in this case that first pitch breaking ball that Engelman didn't appear to be ready for.
Stever looking for his sign. He shakes 2 off, finds the one he wants, the 0-1 pitch. Catches the outside part of the plate, a close call. I thought that would have gone begging, but a called strike from David Condon, and the count now 0-2 on Engelman.
Engelman didn't look like he liked the call, that fastball on the outside corner there. When it puts you down in a hole 0-2, can't really blame him.
Looked to be a bit away, but nonetheless, Stever will come back with another 0-2. This one fouled down the first base side into the parking lot. And staying alive is Jonathan Engelman. Michigan down 1 run, trying to bring it back even. 2 outs in the inning. Lugbauer on third, Poirier on first, and the right fielder Engelman at the plate. Stever with the 0-2. That one misses high. Engelman thought about it for a half second, but did not go. Count 1-2.
Yeah, we saw that last pitch might have missed off the plate a little bit away, but Engelman adjusting to this count. He was down 0-2. Again, down 0-2 at that pitch. Maybe expanding the zone a bit, but not quite enough to the point that he would swing at that high fastball from Stever.
And a quick throw over to first will bring back Poirier. Lugbauer was taking a healthy secondary lead over at third. Not at all speedy, so he won't be held anyways by Miller, who's playing deep towards the back infield. And the 1-2, again swung on and fouled back by Engelman. And perhaps those quick secondary lead jumps from Lugbauer drawing just a bit of attention from Stever, enough to take him away from that pitch. And Engelman stays alive 1-2.
Yeah, that's really the goal there. When you have that righty on the mound and you're on third base, if you're not being held on, you dance out there, just as much movement as possible, just to throw off the pitcher on the mound, even if it's just out of the corner of his eye.
And the 1-2, that one's low and in the dirt, blocked well by Feynman. Count even, 2-2. Twos across the board, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and number 2, Jonathan Engelman at the plate. Engelman steps back in, quarter step back in the box from where he was a moment ago, and 2-2. Another quick throw over to first, diving back in is Poirier in plenty of time.
And you like to see all these pickoff throws if you're Michigan. Shows that Stever's mind isn't quite fully on Engelman, the batter. Opens up the opportunity for a nice 2-strike, 2-out knock here.
And the 2-2. That one dips low and misses away. The count now full, 3-2 on the Wolverines' right fielder. A 289 hitter, 1 home run, 25 RBIs on the season.
The other benefit, just seeing the pitcher miss the zone there with a few. Just throw him off, and when he's worried about the runners, then finally comes focus on the batter and can't quite find the zone, messes with your head out there.
Payoff pitch from Stever. That one misses low, ball 4. Poirier was gone on the throw. Engelman will take his base, and they are now full for the catcher, Harrison Wenson.
And Wenson here, the big key is going to be attacking early in the at-bat for him. I'd imagine he's going to see one of those first pitch breaking balls that Stevers like to break out today. Seems to be the theme when pitchers try to attack Harrison Wenson, use that big swing to their advantage. And he's normally sitting dead right on a fastball to start the at-bat. We'll see if he is here. It's going to be up to him to do some damage, most likely against one of those secondary pitches.
Wenson standing tall at the plate. The first pitch swung on and fouled back. 0-1.
And he got the fastball there with the first pitch. I'm really surprised about that one. Seems like that played right into Harrison Wenson's hands. Just wasn't able to quite square that one up and falls harmlessly behind the booth here.
Jonathan Stever looks back towards his catcher, Feynman, gets his sign and delivers with the 0-1. A called strike on that lower outside corner. Count 0-2.
And Feynman's got to be really comfortable about his position right now, despite the bases loaded jam. Up 0-2 on Wenson. A well-placed breaking ball here should end the inning.
Wenson struck out looking in his last at-bat. Stever trying to do it again. The 0-2, called strike 3. Perfectly placed by Stever, and that'll get him out of a bases-loaded jam in the bottom of the 4th. Wenson, again, does not like the call, but that'll do it for the Wolverines in the bottom of the 4th. Again, threatening, but not scoring. It remains 1-0 in favor of the Hoosiers as we head to the top of the 5th. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network.
And that pitch didn't look particularly bad. Pretty much the same story as Wenson's last at-bat. I don't know if just a bit of frustration there that he was caught off guard with a couple of fastballs, but taking his frustrations out on the home plate umpire, I guess, is Wenson. Again, I'd imagine there's a little bit in there of I hope my pitcher gets that call or my pitcher better get that call. You see that a lot from catchers if they don't quite agree with the calls they're getting at the plate. Nonetheless, though, I don't think Oliver Jaski really needs the extra calls at this point, the way he's locating all 3 pitches, varying speeds, keeping the Indiana hitters off balance. He's been able to get ahead in just about every single count. Hasn't really fallen behind since I think the second inning, if scoring is to be believed here.
Yep, and through, this has been a very evenly called game so far. Much better than the game that we saw on Tuesday night, in which that strike zone was expanding and collapsing with every pitch.
Yeah, last Tuesday, just like you said, really inconsistent. It was constantly changing, especially on that outside corner. So far, credit to home plate umpire David Condon. There was maybe one call that we questioned in the booth. Everything else has looked extremely solid.
And it's been a bit to the wide side, but it's stayed that way, and that is a healthy spot for David Condon. And we've seen some quick innings because of it. Jaski and Steve are able to put plenty of those pitches to the outside.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it really helps out the pitchers here. Jaski and Steve are really taking advantage of that fact. They can go a little bit off the plate, get some calls, and get ahead of these hitters. And what is really two dangerous lineups for a couple different reasons.
And leading off the inning for the Indiana Hoosiers will be the first baseman, Matt Gorski, followed by Ryan Feynman and Jeremy Houston, 6, 7, 8 in the top of the fifth. And Oliver Jaski is back on the rubber and ready to go here. The first pitch to Gorski bounces up in the dirt and into Wenson for ball one. Gorski flew out to Johnny Slater in center in his first at-bat.
And of course, right after I talk about Jaski getting ahead in the count, he starts off with a breaking ball that misses and falls behind.
The 1-0. Shows bunt, pulls away, but he called strike anyways on Gorski. The count evens at 1-1.
Not a bad idea there by Gorski. You got Jake Bivens over at first place playing well off the line and well back on what would be the back of the infield dirt had Ray Fisher Stadium have infield dirt.
And the 1-1, that one foul. Bivens giving chase over in foul territory. Will it stay in play? He reaches over and just over the blue wall makes the grab to the full extent of where he could go on the field for the first out of the inning. And a foul out for Gorski will now bring up the catcher, Ryan Feynman.
And a little bit of credit there to the wind that's blowing that right to left. Kept that one just in the reach of Jake Bivens. A nice job not to give up on it off the bat and range over to that wall.
First pitch to Feynman. Big cut and a miss for strike one. His first at bat was one of three unassisted grabs over at first by Jake Bivens in this game.
Busy day for Bivens over there. Those three unassisted plays that pop out there. Had a pop out earlier last inning as well.
The 0-1 is fouled back into the netting, and quickly the count 0-2 on Feynman.
Jaski started off with that curveball to get ahead looking, then came with the fastball. Feynman was behind it. See if he shows off that third pitch in his arsenal and gives him that curveball, possibly low in the zone, dipping outside the zone, get Feynman to chase. He's got a couple strikes to work with, so definitely an option here.
And Jaski delivers with the 0-2. Another big cut and a miss, and three pitches, and down goes Feynman. That is the fifth strikeout of the afternoon for Oliver Jaski, the second out of the top of the fifth inning, and that'll leave it up to the shortstop, Jeremy Houston, to keep things going here in the fifth.
And it was indeed that changeup that Jaski went with. Didn't quite keep it out of the zone, rather just made it disappear from the middle of the zone down to that bottom part.
And the first pitch to Houston fouled to the backstop, 0-1.
Houston, extremely familiar with that changeup from Jaski, was set down on it last time after falling behind in the count, already behind in the count here against Jaski.
And the 0-1 pitch, that one catches the outside part of the plate, called strike.
So Jaski up ahead in the count on Houston yet again, 0-2. So Houston steps back up here, awaits the 0-2 from Jaski. Jaski gets his sign, takes a breath, and the 0-2 pitch gets past Wentz as it bounces in the dirt, brings the count to 1-2. As we once again restored our natural mics here. Having to work a little bit unconventionally here in our booth, more of a suite type of area. Don't have the usual perks of propping a microphone out the window. 1-2 from Jaski, just misses outside for a ball, 2-2.
Back and revamped. For some reason, this family in front of us has decided not to use the seats that are over to the right and sit right in front of the mic with several small children. Count 2-2 on Houston. Jaski trying to get out of the 5th inning here. The 2-2. That one dips low and out of the zone. Count now full, 3-2.
Nice, much better at bat here by Houston than last time around when he fell behind in the count 1-2 and then struck out on that changeup. Doing a nice job here, not chasing anything. Jaski tries to dangle outside the zone.
And the 3-2 swung on and fouled back. And staying alive is the shortstop, Jeremy Houston.
Jaski not trying to get too cute there. Went with that 3-2 fastball. I'd be surprised if he goes with another one here, given he's be able to locate both the changeup and the curveball effectively, and probably throw Houston off by a fair amount.
And the 3-2 called strike 3 on the outside part of the plate. Houston thought he had a free bag. Home plate umpire David Condon rings him up with the right arm. And that'll do it for the Hoosiers in the top of the 5th. The 6th strikeout of the game for Oliver Jaski, as the Hoosiers do not score again. A lot of goose eggs on the board. Again, the only difference in this game, the leadoff home run from Tony Butler in the 1st inning. We head to the bottom of the 5th. The Indiana Hoosiers lead by a score of 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network.
Halfway through, just one heck of a pitcher's duel we're seeing developing. We had Oliver Jaski with the 6 strikeouts already in 5 innings. Through 4, Stevers got 4 strikeouts of his own, 1 in each of the first 4 innings. He's going to look to answer Oliver Jaski after tightroping out of a bit of a jam, a bases-loaded jam with a couple outs in the 4th. So far, all indications are he will be able to answer Jaski's call. He's been just as good as Jaski, we'd have to say, so far today. Or sure seems like it. He's keeping the Michigan hitters off balance, which is not an easy feat. Normally this Michigan offense pretty much has their way with pitchers, waits them out, finds pitches they can drive, and does damage. Instead, Stevers' strategy so far today has been to avoid giving anything the Michigan hitters can really do damage on. That's boded well.
And it will be the 1-2-3, Jimmy Kerr, Johnny Slater, Michael Berdar for the Wolverines in the bottom of the 5th. Still trying to break through against the right-hander Jonathan Stever, who has been nearly spotless so far. He's given up 5 hits, but has limited the damage to nothing. Jimmy Kerr standing in now. The first pitch swung on towards left field. Ranging back is the left fielder, and the catch made at the warning track by Didolo.
And Kerr gave that one a bit of a ride out there, just got it out to that warning track. Didn't quite get enough on it though. Just got under the ball again. Seen 7 Wolverine hitters do that. Just can't quite square it up enough to drive one out. Even with that wind kind of blowing a bit out towards that left field corner. Wasn't able to help that ball hit by Kerr much, if at all.
And that will bring up Johnny Slater. Had a single in his last at-bat, struck out in his first. The first pitch catches the outside part of the plate. Well framed there by Feynman, 0-1.
Was a nice shot there by Kerr to go the other way with the ball, something we saw Slater do last at-bat.
The 0-1 pitch, a big cut and a miss from Johnny Slater, was tempting over the plate, if not a bit low. The count now 0-2.
That was right in the sweet spot there for Johnny Slater, right over that heart of the plate. Maybe a bit at the knee, something you could really drive, but came up empty.
And the 0-2, swing and a miss down in the dirt. Headed over towards first is Slater. Coming up is Feynman, and the throw over to Gorski is in time for the second out of the inning.
Not really a great at-bat there by Slater. Fell behind and then chased that one in the dirt. Didn't look like it was particularly close either. That breaking ball bounced off the plate. Normally you see those kinds of big swings and misses out of Slater when he's facing a tough lefty or something, but instead it was the righty Stever that had him fooled with that big looping breaking ball.
And now the shortstop, Michael Berdar, at the plate. trying to make something happen with 2 outs in the inning. The base paths are empty. The first pitch to Berdar, a breaking ball called strike, outside edge, 0-1. And the 0-1 pitch from Stever, again going to the outside, and again getting the call. That time with a fastball, 0-2.
And Stever's been able to pound the outside edge against these Wolverine hitters all day, which has been why he's been so effective thus far.
The 0-2 bounces up into the dirt, gathered by Feynman. Count now 1-2.
There's one spot you want to really be able to locate, it's that outside edge, and Stever doing so today.
And the 1-2. That one misses inside. It was a close pitch. Berdar leaned back to try and sell it. Michael Condon did not go up with the right hand. Stever wanted the call. It's 2-2.
Butler over at second base wanted the call. He was jogging off the field already.
And the 2-2. That one swung on, grounded over towards third. It'll be grabbed by Miller and unable to play it. That's a fair ball. I think he thought it was going to tail foul and just couldn't get it out of the glove. And Michael Berdar will have himself a single to keep things alive here in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, we'll see how they score that one. That was really high chopper. I think even if Miller fielded that ball, he wasn't going to have a chance at Berdar. It just bounced too high in the air, and looks like indeed they scored as a single. I think that's the right call there. Miller, just really nothing you can do on that play. Looks like Indiana's head coach Chris Lemonis is coming out to argue. He thinks that one did not hook over the bag. It looked like it went right over the bag to me, but
it looked to be a pretty fair ball all the way to me as well from our vantage point up in the press box. But again, we're coming at an angle that is looking from foul territory more back in towards third. There is an error up on the board for Indiana already in this game. That one back on the miscue by Gorski, I believe, back in the first inning.
So the door creaks open a little bit for Lugbauer to do some damage for the Wolverines.
And Lugbauer at the plate. The first pitch tried to go outside, didn't get the call this time with the fastball. 1-0 on Drew Lugbauer.
We saw his first at-bat of the day. Got ahead in the count, ended up grounding into a double play. His second at-bat decided to go with that pitch away and deposited one to the left.
And the 1-0. Huge cut and a miss from Drew Lugbauer. Might have gotten just a piece of it and back into the catcher Feynman, who's a bit shaken, but will take a quick circle around the foul territory behind home plate and come back to position. Count 1-1.
I think Lugbauer might have gotten Feynman on the backswing there after he finished that big long swing of his. Feynman looks to be all right though, which is a good sign.
And the 1-1 pitch from Stever. Swung on, grounded over towards second. Ranging over to make the play. On the hop is Butler over to first for the out. And that'll do it for the Wolverines in the 5th. This game cruising along nicely as we head to the top of the 6th. The Wolverines still trying to break through on the Indiana Hoosiers. They lead 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network.
And all credit in the world to Jonathan Stever so far, just doing a fantastic job. We've seen Oliver Jaski, his strategy has been to change speeds to keep hitters off balance. Stever going inside-outside now to really keep the Wolverine hitters off balance. Two different strategies, same result, and that's not much scoring. Has boded well today for both sides. The cold weather may be playing a factor. On the other hand, I'd argue just great job of pitching, well-executed strategies. Both pitchers know what they want to do on every single inning, every single at-bat, every single pitch, and locating is about as well as you can locate.
And again, Oliver Jaski back out on the mound for the Wolverines here. Top of the 6th inning. Really, Indiana has only tallied 2 hits on Jaski, and if it weren't for the solo home run in the first, he would be the better of the two if there was a thin line between them so far in this game. Has pitched extremely well. His team has just not been able to provide support on the offensive end.
Yeah, that's that only blemish, the second pitch of the ball game, and ever since then, just about everything Oliver Jaski has thrown has been money. Whether it's that fastball, whether it's that curveball, whether it's that changeup, Everything is either got the movement it needs to have or the velocity it needs to have. And it's located, like I said, about as well as you can locate a pitch. Just consistently doing a great job on the mound since that leadoff homer.
9-1-2 Eustace Butler Didolo for the Hoosiers in the 6th. And the first pitch to Eustace misses outside. The rare pitch that gets by Harrison Wenson, unable to glove it on the backhand. As it rolls to the backstop, the count 1-0.
Yeah, even with nobody on, Wenson likes to practice keeping balls in front of him.
And the 1-0, huge cut and a miss from Eustace. Just a 188 hitter. Trying to swing like he's Drew Lugbauer there. 1-1.
And it doesn't make it any easier with that curveball, that lefty-lefty curveball, just moving away from him.
And the 1-1 misses low and outside for ball 2. Eustace was the leadoff hitter for Indiana for a bulk of their last few games, sharing that duty with the now bench today, Alex Krupa. But one hit in the last 5 games from the leadoff position before today's game for the Hoosiers. The 2-1 pitch misses outside. 3-1. Tony Butler in that leadoff spot. Again, just the second hit in now 6 games in the leadoff spot for the Hoosiers. And the 3-1, that one bounces up and into Wenson, and that'll be a free base for Eustace to open up the top of the 6th with Indiana up a run.
Yeah, so Eustace not necessarily leading off in your normal batting order, but leads off the inning here, working a nice at-bat against Oliver Jaskey. Jaskey missed a little bit wild on a couple pitches, but a couple of them looked close enough to maybe warrant a swing from Eustace. Was able to lay off of it, though, and shows why Indiana thought he might be the leadoff hitter for them over the last few.
And that'll bring up the second baseman, Tony Butler. The first pitch to Butler, he shows bunt, called strike, 0-1.
And how about that? Leads off the game with a homer, the game's only run, and he's squaring around to bunt here on the third pitch. It's really the nature of batting leadoff, especially as a middle infielder.
Runs are at a premium in this game so far between the Hoosiers and the Wolverines. And Butler, the big difference, just the second pitch of the game, he took it yard to left center. The 0-1, that one hit on a shot over towards right field. Rallied in by Engelman on a hard hit single to right. And that will quickly throw into second base to hold the already on base Eustace. A single to right field for Tony Butler. His second hit of the game, just the third hit of the game overall for the Hoosiers. And they now have runners on first and second to open up the top of the 6th.
Really the third hard hit ball from Butler. He had that homer, the single now, and also had a relatively hard line out back in the third. The only one getting really strong looks at Oliver Jaskey so far today. The middle of the order coming up specifically really just has been thrown off completely by Jaskey, which bodes well for him trying to get out of this jam.
And some quick words of encouragement to Oliver Jaskey from his catcher Harrison Wenson, and an extended time before Didolo steps to the plate. A dangerous power hitter in Craig Didolo with 9 home runs. He squares to bunt, right back to Jaskey, over to third. It is in time. A heads-up play, a bit too much mustard on the bunt. Gives Jaskey time to get it over to third, and Eustace is forced out.
A nice play there by Jaskey, and you can bet that the catcher behind the plate, the senior, we talked about his abilities defensively, also that leadership, yelling out to Jaskey as soon as he was fielding that bunt that he could cut down the runner Eustace at third, and it's exactly what he did. It helps when you're a lefty pitcher out there. It would have been a little more effective had it been a righty on the mound. Instead, Jaskey able to just field and make a nice fluid motion over towards third.
And that'll bring the third baseman, Luke Miller, to the plate. Runners now at first and second with 1 out in the top of the 6th. First pitch to Miller misses, fastball away, 1-0.
So Jaskey able to get through Didolo, who had 1 of the 3 hits on the day. Now comes to those 3-4 hitters that he's had success with, striking him out 3 of their 4 at-bats on the day so far.
The 1-0 is fouled down the third base side, bounces right up into the padded wall beside the Michigan dugout, count 1-1.
This next pitch is going to be critical so far in those 4 at-bats, the 3 and 4 hitters, Miller and Lloyd. He's gotten ahead in all 4 of them. If he can get ahead here, That'll do wonders for trying to work out of this jam even further.
And the 1-1, that one is low, blocked well by Wenson. Jumping off of second, a couple extra steps, is Butler.
And nice block there by Harrison Wenson. Keep those runners at bay. Keep the force out double play in order, more importantly.
And the count is 2-1 on the third baseman, Luke Miller, trying to extend this Indiana lead. It's currently 1-0 in the top of the sixth. The 2-1. That one misses inside. And now it's 3-1. And putting Miller on base would load him full. A proposition that Oliver Jaski would like to avoid. He's already struck out Miller once in his first at-bat. Trying to get back in the count now. Hitter friendly at 3-1. Jaski looks down and delivers. Misses outside, and that's a free base for Miller, and the bases are now loaded as the heart of this Indiana order comes up with Matt Lloyd, the cleanup hitter, now getting ready to step to the plate.
And so far, Jaski has had Lloyd's number on the day. Set him down a couple times on strikes, but definitely not the situation he wanted to see occur. Anytime you load the bases, no matter who you're facing, it's a dangerous proposition for a pitcher to get out of, and perhaps the reason that we see what looks to be assistant coach for Wolverines, Sean Kenny, walking out to the mound. I don't see any action in the Wolverine bullpen just yet.
There hasn't been any so far in the game.
Eric Backage extremely confident in his senior for his junior left-hander Jaski, for good reason. We saw last week Jaski able to work well over 100 pitches, only sitting at 76 right now. So he has that ability to go just about as long as Eric Backage can stretch him. And provided he doesn't give up more than maybe a run or two here, I'd be shocked if he's not in there for at least the seventh.
Bases loaded, one out for the designated hitter, Matt Lloyd. Hits .320 overall on the season, 8 home runs, 27 RBIs, trying to push this Indiana lead beyond 1-0. He struck out in both of his at-bats, the first one looking, the second one swinging. The first pitch, swung on and missed, strike one. Couldn't catch up to the fastball from Jaski.
Which was a different look. He gave him the fastball there, went off speed the first two times he faced Lloyd. Switching up the sequencing just further throws Lloyd off balance.
Jaski looks down for the 0-1, delivers, swung on, grounded over towards first, just foul. Looked a little scary off the bat, and a bead of sweat will roll off the brow of Jaski as everybody returns to their base. Still full, count 0-2.
Yeah, that was a few feet from being at least one run if Bivens able to field it. If he's not able to field it, that's two, maybe even 3 runs, depending on how quick Miller can get around there from first.
Lloyd steps back to the plate now. Standing back, the 0-2. Just misses the outside edge. Jaski thought he had him there. Placed well, held well by Wenson. And that outside corner not giving.
Yeah, Harrison Wenson setting up off that outside corner. Caught the ball, held it there for that extra beat, trying to draw the call from home plate umpire David Condon, but looked like a good call from up here.
The 1-2 from Jaski. Swung on and missed. Another strikeout for Oliver Jaski. A big one there. The third strikeout of the game for Lloyd, and the 7th strikeout of the game for Jaski overall.
And Lloyd with the hat trick now, not the kind you want if you're an athlete, but a really nice job there by Jaski. Knows he has the advantage over Lloyd, especially after those first 2 at-bats, and really attacked it there. Again, going to that mixing speeds after almost getting the call strike on the fastball, got him swinging with the curve.
1 out away from getting out of a bases-loaded jam. That'll bring Logan Sowers to the plate. First pitch, off-speed curve comes in. Over the plate, called strike, 0-1.
And again, going back to throwing pitches in unconventional spots with the first pitch curveball. We've seen Stever do it quite a bit, and as well as Jaski, part of the reason they've both been effective today.
And the 0-1 fouled back behind home plate, and quickly the count on Sowers 0-2. Jaski a strike away from avoiding a major scoring opportunity for the Indiana Hoosiers in the top of the 6th inning.
He's gone curveball, changeup first 2 pitches here. We'll see if he goes fastball. I think maybe a curveball low and in or just off the plate away might work.
And the fastball misses away. Wenson had to get out of his crouch, slide over to the right, and stop that one from going to the backstop. The defensive prowess of Harrison Wenson potentially saving a run there on that errant pinch from Jaski. The count 1-2.
Wenson does that just about as well as anyone I've seen, diving outside and snagging that ball in the backhand.
The 1-2 grounded foul down the third base side, nearly striking a Michigan player at the foot of the dugout. Staying alive at 1-2 is Logan Sowers, a .252 hitter on the season. He grounded out to Lugbauer in his last at-bat. Jaski readies the 1-2. Swing and a miss, and Oliver Jaski's out of a jam. The 8th strikeout of the game for Michigan's left-handed ace. And Michigan escapes the top of the 6th inning with no damage done. We head to the bottom of the inning. The Indiana Hoosiers lead 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network.
And Jaski just really effective all day. Obviously 7 strikeouts before that one. But one thing we didn't quite see him do completely was completely work backwards, starting off with the off-speed and finishing off with the fastball. We've seen a couple times try to attempt it, never quite executed it how he wanted, and sure enough in that at-bat with Sowers did exactly that. Started off with the curveball and the changeup to get ahead, then was just pounding fastballs. Blew one past Sowers, which I mentioned earlier doesn't necessarily have the highest velocity out there, comes in around 92, but it does have a little bit of tailing movement when he wants, and when you're looking for one of those off-speed pitches that he's thrown really effectively today, it makes the fastball seem that much faster. And when you're looking at velocity and movement, it's just, you really don't stand much of a chance up there if you're the hitter.
And as we get later into this game, Michigan's still unable to break through. If the Hoosiers can hold on, it would be a massive win on their schedule. They haven't faced any ranked opponents since 2 games against Oregon State back on February 17th and 20th. They lost both of those games by a combined 4 runs. Oregon State was ranked number 7 at the time.
And the Hoosiers, at least according to Baseball America's most recent field, the very first team out of the NCAA tournament at this point, so really looking for those big signature wins. This would certainly be one of them.
Miles Lewis will lead off the inning for the Wolverines in the bottom of the 6th. The first pitch, a shot over to center field, ranging over, and a diving grab made by Eustace. What a play! Robbing Miles Lewis of what would have for sure been a single, if not 2.
Yeah, brilliant play there by Eustace. Off the bat, got a great jump. Looked like he might have been shaded a little over to the right side and just got on his horse over there. I thought that was a sure single off the bat of Miles Lewis, the way it was dipping down into that left center field gap. Instead, Eustace just, like you said, full sprint, laying out for it. Great play.
And now Jake Bivens at the plate. The first pitch to Bivens fouled off down the first base side, and you said it, he covered a lot of ground in a very short period of time to make the diving play in center field. And if you get defensive help like that, Jonathan Stiver, you cannot go wrong. As Stiver readies with the 0-1, another swing over towards short, stays in the air long enough to make the play is Houston. 2 outs in the inning, very quickly, both well hit. Just the wrong place for that one off the bat of Bivens, and a gem of a play robbing Miles Lewis of a big hit was Eustace.
And remember that play there, that diving stop by Eustace. When you look back on this game, if Indiana's able to come out with this 1-0 lead, that may be the thing that helps them maintain it. Should have, or had Miles Lewis gotten on with that base hit, had it dropped and gotten down there, most likely that hit from Bivens there also gets down with Houston not quite playing in that same spot. They're playing more in double play depth. That would have been 2 runners on, perhaps first and third, with nobody out for the Wolverines, who were normally automatic to score runs when they get a runner on third with no one out.
First pitch to Poirier missed outside. First pitch of the inning that wasn't swung at by a Wolverines hitter. The 1-0 comes back inside for a called strike. And Nick Poirier trying to make something happen for the Wolverines. He's hitless so far in today's game. And the 1-1. That one misses low. Gets to the backstop behind Feynman. The count 2-1.
Poirier hitless on the day, but he did hit that one hard hit ball, ended up beating out the potential relay on the double play ball. Wolverines can use a hard hit ball to find a hole here in this inning.
The 2-1. Swung on. A shot over towards left. Ranging over is Didolo. A diving grab made by Didolo. He cannot hold on. It is a fair ball. Did he make the play? He made the play. Dipped out of view over towards the left-hand side. The third base umpire was playing fair ball, but another amazing grab by Didolo in left field, and the Hoosiers used two defensive gems to escape a couple very hard-hit shots by the Wolverines in the bottom of the sixth inning. We head to the top of the seventh. Indiana leads this one 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network. What a grab by Didolo again.
Yeah, you got to hang a star on that one. That was just what we were remarking about how great the play by Eustace made over in center. Didolo went and topped him there. Ball slicing away from him into that left field corner. Just a full extension, made the catch while in midair. Just an outstanding grab on looked to possibly be a 2-out double from Nick Poirier. Indiana's defense just came to play here in this inning. And it's almost demoralizing there as Michigan looked like he might have been finally able to get to Jonathan Stever. Got those hard hit balls and they just will not fall.
And back on the mound for the Wolverines, Oliver Jaski, and the offense trying to give him some support, but Indiana's defense will say otherwise. Jaski headed into the top of the seventh, still throwing a very good game, has only given up 3 hits, and the 1 run, the leadoff home run on the second pitch of the game to Tony Butler.
Yeah, Jaski is doing just about as well, maybe even better than Jonathan Stever's been doing just by watching him. If you look at the stat line, the only thing that really swings it in favor of Stever is that 1 run that Jaski's given up, that 1 home run, and we're going to touch on it a lot. We've already touched on it a lot, that 1 swing of the bat. It's been the difference so far today, and the only blemish on Jaski's record, but it could end up being the 1 most significant offensive play of this ballgame.
Gorski, Feynman, Houston, 6, 7, 8 in the inning. Gorski lays down a bunt. Unable to make the play is Jaski, and he's going to beat it out for an infield hit to start the game, or to start the 7th inning, I should say. Well laid down, just got under the glove of Jaski, and wheeling over to first is Gorski.
Yeah, really nicely placed bunt there by Gorski. You got lefty on the mound, that bunt into almost a Bermuda Triangle angle there between the second baseman, the first baseman, and the pitcher. It's tough for anyone to make a play there. Really, Jimmy Kerr had no chance at it, ended up fielding the ball anyway, but didn't bother to make a throw. It was up to if Jaski was able to get the glove down and just couldn't quite cross over from where he finished on the left side of the mound in time.
And the catcher, Feynman, now at the plate. A throw over to first. Very slow release from Jaski as Gorski will just trot back, standing up.
That is one thing about Jaski, for all of his pitching prowess, doesn't quite have a really effective pickoff move.
And the first pitch, a bunt laid down but popped up foul to the backstop. Got underneath that one, did Feynman, but back foul, the count 0-1.
Just like we saw Michigan trying to play some small ball, Indiana going back to that small ball approach, just trying to get a little more insurance for Stever out there. Especially after seeing him get hard hit a bit last inning.
Jaski looks down, readies with the 0-1, showing bunt again as Feynman gets it down. Play made over at first. In time was Bivens for the out. Took it unassisted, a scramble between Bivens and Jaski to get to the plate. And now I think Indiana's skipper is going to come out and question that call at first. It's Chris Lemonis.
I think he might be asking for see if Jaski interfered in the base path of Feynman. I think they might have a case on this one. Jaski ended up not fielding that ball, like you said. Bivens took it unassisted, but was standing right about on the base, it seemed like. May have prevented Feynman from getting in there.
And a conference between the umpires on the first base line right now, an extended conference between Condon Hospoda and Brent Rice. And I think you're right. They did have a good case for Jaski getting in the way. It was a silly decision for Jaski to try and get in the way after Bivens had waved him off.
The problem is I think Bivens probably should have flipped that one to Jaski. They were getting there roughly the same time. Jaski might have beat him by a little bit. And by the time that Bivens waved Jaski off, there really wasn't anywhere he could go if he moves back a little bit into that baseline even more. I think for sure the call ends up being that Feynman gets the base, and it looks like that might be the call anyway.
Houston is still standing at first base. Now Eric Bakich out to get a bit of an update here from the umpiring crew. And now Houston still standing over at first. Gorski has joined him from his spot at second.
It looks like Feynman is going to be awarded first base here. Eric Bakich very demonstrative as he's getting the word from the umpires here. Just poor communication by the Wolverines on that play, and it's going to cost him another base runner in the inning, I think.
And another sticky situation if that call is in fact what comes of it, as that would leave runners on first and second with just one out in the inning. Indiana still leading by 1.
An extended talk here. Eric Bakich really trying to make his point. I don't think he's going to end up convincing the 3 umpires we have out here today to change their minds yet again. But he's certainly trying out there. Very demonstrative. Very, very vocal, it seems, about this call.
Eric Bakich still talking. Seems relatively calm at the moment.
Yeah,
definitely extending things here.
Yeah, aside from all the hand motions, like you said, pretty calm. It seems calm enough, especially with this big call that appears to be going against his team. Again, it looks like really getting into it with the first base umpire, Joel Hospoda. I'd imagine it looks like Hospoda there. It looks like he might be explaining to Eric Bakich that he couldn't quite see the interference, and that's why he didn't call it in the first place. I think that might be the case that Bakich is making, is that you already made the call of an out. Why are you going back and changing it? That's not viable if you didn't think it was worthy of a interference when you first saw it. It shouldn't be worthy of an interference when you get a second opinion on it.
Again, nothing happening. Very standstill. Michigan playing a little catch in the infield. They're ready to get back to work. Eric Bakich will fight for this base.
And Jaski keeping his arm warm, playing catch with third baseman Lugbauer. Now we're going to throw some pitches to Harrison Wentz behind the plate. That is indeed what looks like is going on. Bit of a sparser crowd here at Ray Fisher than we've seen over the past couple weekends. Very much a product of the weather. Had some great weather over really the past month or so during this long homestand Michigan has had. They was scheduled for 18 games. Ended up only really having 17 in there at the moment because of a game that ended up getting rained out against Bowling Green. But on the homestand, through 14 games, 13-1, which when you talk about the friendly confines of being at home, Ray Fisher Stadium definitely has qualified for the Wolverines so far this year. That 13-1 mark on this homestand, and overall on the season, Michigan 17-2 at home. And when you're a cold weather team, you have to take advantage when you come back home because you're playing the first month or so on the road, most likely not going to have the most pristine record that a lot of the warmer weather teams who are used to playing down there do have. All that travel takes its toll on you. So when you're able to come home and put up such big numbers, it helps explain why you're gaining national relevance as the Wolverines are.
And finally, after a good 5 minutes worth of discussion, Houston will stand on the bag at first. Runners on first and second via the interference call on Oliver Jaski. 1 out in the inning. Indiana leads 1-0. Top of the 7th inning.
There'll be no outs in the inning once they
get it off the board.
There,
Sure, you are correct.
Never trust the scoreboard, I think is what I heard a Penn State announcer once say. Never trust that scoreboard.
And now standing in to bat is Houston. And the first pitch bunted, foul down the third base line. So I should correct that it is Gorski standing on second base, and standing on first is Feynman.
And again, Indiana just trying to bunt their runners over again here with Houston at the plate. Houston already struck out twice against Oliver Jaski today, trying to make something of this at bat. At least make a productive out this time around. Looks like Harrison Winston's going to give the infield some signs here depending on what to do with the bunt. We'll see if maybe Lugbauer is staying back on this with Bivens charging. It looks like that might be the play based on how the Wolverines are set up. Sometimes you'll see a wheel play with the shortstop ranging over towards third base. Sometimes you see a third baseman slink back with the lefty Jaski on the mound. I'm thinking that Lugbauer stays back and heads to third, trying to record the out there.
And the 0-1, that one missed. Wenson up and grabs it. Could have had a play over at first. Feynman was a good 6 or 7 steps off the bag. I think he thought that Gorski might be taking off from second and was going to follow suit. But much ado about nothing. Everybody stays put. The count now 1-1 on Jeremy Houston, the shortstop for the Hoosiers.
And Berdar was sprinting back towards second base to try to keep Gorski close. And if Houston had been able to get a bunt down, they would have had Gorski at third.
Jaski readies the 1-1. Bunted again down the third base line. This one well placed, but it will roll foul. 1-2 now, and bunting out of the picture for Houston. Runners on first and second with none out in the top of the 7th inning. Indiana maintaining a 1-0 lead, courtesy of the solo home run on the second pitch of the game from the second baseman, Tony Butler.
And based on how Michigan played that, it looked like they were going to concede the 2 bases, let Gorski go to second and Feynman go to first, or really let Gorski go to third and Feynman go to second on the play. Lugbauer was charging in, and it may have been a product of just how Houston bunted it. He bunted it right down the line. That kind of trailed foul. That they made sure Lugbauer would be charging to try to make sure to get at least 1 out of the play. We'll see if maybe they keep the bunt on with Houston. You don't normally see it with 2 strikes, but still a slight possibility.
And the 1-2 is low and in the dirt. It bounces behind Wenson again. Jaski getting a bit erratic, and even for a very good catcher like Wenson, a couple of hard pitches to locate. And the count now 2-2. Runners stay. Gorski at second, Feynman at first. Jeremy Houston, the shortstop, in a 2-2 count. No outs in the inning.
Jaski spiked a couple here with velocity. They come up and hit the top shoulder, it looked like, of Wenson.
And the 2-2 again low, trying to see if Houston had gone. The appeal down to the first base umpire, Joel Hospakota. He says he did not go. The count now full 3-2.
Yeah, so after spiking a couple, Jaski, that time intentionally went with one in the dirt, tried to get Houston to chase. Houston did a nice job laying off and avoiding the hat trick on the day.
The 3-2. Swing and a miss. Big strikeout for Oliver Jaski, the first out of the inning. He fools Jeremy Houston and sends him back to the dugout begging. And that'll bring up the 9-hitter, Laren Eustace.
So Houston was able to avoid the hat trick, but only for 1 extra pitch, as Jaski once again had him way off balance there. what would look like a 3-2 changeup, had him way out in front. Again, another picture-perfect display by Oliver Jassky of switching those speeds.
And now Eustace stepping to the plate. Jassky deciding his plan of attack with Wenson. He gets a sign he likes. Kicks and delivers. That one misses outside for ball 1.
And right now I'd imagine Jassky is going to work down in the zone a lot here. Try to get a ground ball out of Eustace. We saw Eustace has that speed, displayed it on defense last inning, but he hits one hard enough and right at a Wolverine fielder. Get Jassky out of the inning in one pitch.
And the 1-0. That one comes inside for a called strike. Well placed outside back in on the fastball, 1-1.
It looked like Wenson was set up low and away on that ball. Jassky missing his spots just a bit here, but missing over the plate at the very least, so he's able to get that called strike from David Condon.
And the 1-1. Called strike on the outside edge. Well placed and well held by Wenson. And now the count 1-2.
I did not miss with that off-speed pitch. That one definitely hit the corner right where he wanted it. I imagine staying away again here on the lefty Eustace with the 1-2 pitch.
Jassky looks down the pipe and delivers. Big cut, big miss. The 10th strikeout of the game for Oliver Jassky. 2 huge back-to-back strikeouts on Houston and Eustace after putting runners on first and second with none out. And this stays as now a time is called and a meeting out at the mound. Thought maybe for a second there might have been a missed call, but I think a sigh of relief as it's just Eric Bakich coming out to talk to Jassky.
Yeah, we're going to call down to the pen here with Tony Butler coming up. Really the only Indiana hitter who's hit the ball hard off of Jassky all day. Decided not to give him his 4th look at the Wolverine lefty. Go to the pen instead. Jassky's going to get a well-deserved ovation here from the fans that made their way out to Ray Fisher Stadium today.
And Jassky will get you his final line as soon as this inning ends. He is still responsible for Gorski on second and Feynman on first. And as you said, Mac Lozier coming into the game now for the Wolverines. And Mac Lozier's stat line still rocking that 0.00 ERA. And he has been absolutely perfect on the mound so far for the Wolverines this season. 9 1/3 of work. He's given up 2 hits in total all season long. 12 strikeouts.
Yeah, when Michigan needs someone to work out of a jam, Lozier is definitely one of the top candidates. The right-handed senior. Done a great job over his time in Ann Arbor. Theo Blavin and I once talked about on the broadcast a bit. Kind of unusual to see a setup man like Mac Lozier in college baseball, a senior at like Mac Lozier at the very least. A lot of times you'll see those seniors throughout their time when they're starting in the bullpen. They don't normally stay there for 4 years in the same type of role. You'll see them move up into a closer role, maybe a starter role, or transfer out to a point where they could close or start on another team. Mac Lozier has done none of those. Instead, it's just become one of the stingiest setup men in the game. Looking to work out of a game, and I'd imagine he'd get the next inning should he be able to work out of the jam here.
Mac Lozier is ready to go here for the Maize and Blue. Again, to set the scene, Gorski on second, Feynman on first. Indiana leads 1-0. It was Tony Butler on the second pitch of the game going yard to left center field. That is the difference in this one as we stand at 1-0 in the top of the 7th. 2 outs, and now Tony Butler steps back to the plate.
Butler getting that different look here. We'll see if that has any effect on his ability to rep the ball.
And the first pitch to Butler. That one catches the outside part of the plate for a called strike.
If that's any indication on how Mac Lozier is going to be today. This could be a quick at-bat here for Tony Butler and a quick next inning or so for the Indiana Hoosier batters.
Busy day at the plate for Butler. The home run in the first, had a single in his last at-bat in the fifth. After a lack of production in that leadoff spot the last week for the Indiana Hoosiers. A missed call there, in my opinion. Ooh, thought Mac Lozier had the outside edge. Home plate umpire David Condon does not go up with the right hand. Count 1-1.
I don't know if it missed off. It might have missed a bit low there. I think that might be the rationale for not calling it, because David Condon has called that outside corner, just a little bit off that outside corner, all game long. Did not do so there.
The 1-1. Tries to go back to the outside edge again. Another close pitch, perhaps a bit more to the outside than the last one. Count 2-1.
That one was definitely up there. Not as much of an outcry from the Wolverine fans sitting behind the plate as there was with that last pitch, so give the benefit of the doubt to the home plate umpire David Condon there and assume that one did indeed miss.
And the count is 2-1 as Lozier steps off the mound for a brief moment. Looks down the chute, has the pitch he wants, and delivers. Again going to the outside, really trying to hammer that outside edge. Has not worked so far. It's 3-1.
And not a bad idea here. Butler, that home run came out one that was middle in. So there are a couple of, that line drive that he hit hard back at the third, came on one middle in. He was able to go the other way with his single back in the sixth. But the more you stay away, the less chance he has at ripping one into a gap.
Big 3-1 pitch here for Mac Lozier. Delivers. Catches the outside edge that time. 4 straight pitches to the outside, 3 miss. That one's good. The count full, 3-2.
And Lozier went with the off speed on that one after missing a couple times. He did miss a couple times with that off speed. Finally was able to get one in there, and that 3-1 count. A little bit of unconventional 3-1 pitch, especially when you miss with it. Threw Butler off, and now you can really go either way, off speed or fastball here if you're Lozier. You just got to beat Butler with one pitch.
And the 3-2. That one swung on, grounded over towards short. It's fielded by Berdar. He gets it over to first in time, and that'll end the inning. Indiana gets 2 on with none out, but they do not score. We head to the bottom of the 7th. Indiana leads Michigan 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Sports Radio Network.
Yeah, so the last 2 innings, we saw Oliver Jaski work into some jams, but strike out a couple batters to end the 6th, and then turned it over to Mac Lozier in the 7th, who finished off the Houdini-esque work there, getting out of a jam. Great job by Wolverine pitching. They're keeping the offense in it. They're keeping the Wolverines in it. The offense just has not been able to come through. The closest maybe we saw was last inning in the 6th. They hit 2 or 3 balls really hard, and some great plays by the Indiana defenses. So far, kept starter Jonathan Stevers' line looking extremely good.
And as you said, the Wolverines hit 2 balls extremely well, and a third pretty hard hit over to short in that last half inning, but 2 gem plays, one in center and one in left, kept them off the base paths and off the board again. It's going to be 8-9-1 for the Wolverines here in the bottom of the 7th. Engelman, Wenson, and Kerr, as the Michigan Wolverines have been absolutely stymied so far by Jonathan Stever. We'll get you the final line on Oliver Jaski now that we have finished the top of the 7th. Jaski goes 6 2/3, gives up 5 hits, 1 earned run, 10 strikeouts. Good for a 3.65 ERA on the day.
And somewhat understates just how good he was. I mean, the 10 strikeouts tell you enough there, the gaudy strikeout numbers, but it really doesn't quite tell you exactly how good he looked locating and keeping all these Indiana hitters off balance. Even when they were able to get some base hits, draw a couple walks, they did not look comfortable at the plate all day long, and that's really the main takeaway from Oliver Jaski's outing today.
And Engelman steps to the batter's box as he gets ready to go here in the bottom of the 7th. Stever still on the mound for Indiana, a workhorse in today's game so far. The first pitch to Engelman, swung on, chopped foul down the third base side.
Yeah, and Stever coming into the inning at 96 pitches. There's a bit of action in that Indiana bullpen out there. I'd imagine this is his last inning. Should it go cleanly and potentially not getting all the way through it if, depending on if the
and the 0-1
damage.
Grounded over towards short. Play made by Houston. Throw over to first in time. They get him by a step for the first out of the inning.
So another quiet at-bat there from the Wolverine here to start the inning. Aside from the first and fourth innings, or really, Wolverines had trouble getting the leadoff hitters and driving them in. They've gotten a couple leadoff hitters on, but by the time they're able to get into scoring position and get over to third base, there's several outs in the inning, no matter who they get in.
And that'll bring the 9-hitter Harrison Wenson to the plate. 2 strikeouts, both looking in the game so far. The first pitch to Wenson, a called strike.
And once again, starting Wenson off with the off-speed pitch. You saw him do it back in his first at-bat. Started him off with the fastball boldly in that second at-bat. And back to the off-speed here.
The 0-1 fouled back into the netting behind home plate. Count 0-2 on Harrison Wenson. Both of his strikeouts looking. Disputed the strike 3 calls with home plate umpire David Condon. And now in a tough situation again, 0-2. Delivery from Stever, up high, helmet high on Wenson, who does not go, 1-2.
Like I mentioned earlier, Wenson not really wanting to chase. If he's going to chase, it's going to end up being a breaking ball down, which is probably coming right here.
And the 1-2, it was a breaking ball down, but he got underneath it, back into foul territory, ranging over are both Feynman and Gorski, unable to make a play as it gets into the bleachers on the first base side.
Yeah, it was that breaking ball down. Went upstairs with that fastball. Wasn't necessarily trying to get Wenson to chase, more changing the eye level before dropping that breaking ball down there. Wenson knew it was coming, being the brilliant catcher that he is, and able to stay alive.
And the 1-2, a swing and a drive. Left field, if it stays fair, it's gone. Waiting on the call from third, and it just goes foul.
Oh, man, that was a game-tying shot right there. Like you said, if it was fair, it was gone. Wenson really got into that ball. Unfortunately, hooked it just a little bit too much on that line. The wind not having a ton of impact at the moment. It was blowing right to left earlier on. It's still blowing just a little bit, not quite as hard as we saw. Might have just given it that little extra push it needed to hook foul around that left field foul pole.
Back to work is Wenson in the 1-2 count. Swing and a miss, and down goes Wenson for the second out of the inning. Goes from a near game-tying home run to a big swing and a miss for his third K of the game.
Yeah, a big swing and momentum there, especially after it looked like the Wolverines had this game tied up after sticking in it for just so long. Indiana remains on top and has 2 outs in the inning, looking for yet another clean inning out of Stever, who has been nothing short of fantastic today.
Boy, that one just about emptied Stever's bladder, but he's all right out there. Jimmy Kerr stepping to the plate now with 2 outs. First pitch grounded right back up the middle by Kerr. Grab made by Houston. Throw over to first. In time. That is a close call at the bag. First base umpire Joel Hospoda right on top of it says he got him. It looked very close to me, but that'll do it for the Wolverines in the bottom of the 7th. We head to the top of the 8th. The Indiana Hoosiers lead this one by a score of 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network. And watching that one on the outfield screen now, it looks like it was a tie with the runner, if not safe for Kerr.
Yeah, it looked in real time here, especially, it looked like Kerr had beaten that one out by maybe half a step. It was just a fantastic play there by the shortstop. That was Houston on the play.
Deep into the middle infield.
He got about as far back you normally see any infielder make a play. There was a couple steps into the outfield by the time he scooped the ball beyond the second base bag. And
tough crossbody throw.
Yeah, made a nice pivot and crossbody over that way.
Credit to Houston for making it a close play at first and putting the onus on Joel Hospoda.
And then a nice scoop over there. Also get the shout out to Matt Gorski with a really nice scoop on a short hop. Houston made the best throw he possibly could. Ended up hopping in there for Gorski, who was able to make that scoop and definitely earned that out. If nonetheless, I guess whether he was safe or out is to be debated, but definitely a play worthy of getting that call.
And now coming in to pitch the 8th for the Wolverines is Tommy Henry. 25 innings of work so far this season. An ERA of .72. 29 strikeouts in 12 appearances.
Yeah, Tommy Henry, the lefty, capable of going multiple innings, pitching to batters from both sides of the plate. As long as Eric Beck wants him to stay in there, he's going to stay in there as long as he's having success. And we talked about it a bit on Tuesday, and mentioned it a lot talking about Jaski today. His main pitch is that big breaking ball, his go-to pitch, and just the threat of having it there elevates his other pitches, especially his fastball, makes it seem that much quicker when you're expecting the pitch to drop off the table. We'll see how much he relies on it here back on Tuesday. He started off his outing staying away from the curveball, just letting the threat of it loom there as he attacked more with the fastball. Then went to the curveball later on, had the Spartan hitters off balance all day long during his outing.
Fearsome part of the order for the Hoosiers due up. It's 2-3-4, Didolo, Miller, and Lloyd in the top of the 8th for the Crimson and Cream. Winding is Henry. The first pitch, a called strike on the left fielder, Didolo.
And there was that fastball to start things off. Going to establish that right away.
Didolo, the 0-1 pitch, that a off speed that dips way below the zone, bounces off the plate and into the glove of Wenson, but he swung, and the count 0-2. The 0-2 from Tommy Henry, swing and a miss, and down goes Didolo. 3-pitch strikeout for Tommy Henry to open up his work here in the top of the 8th.
Can't execute much better than Tommy Henry did just there. Started off with the fastball to get ahead in the count, and then went with a couple breaking balls. He got the hitter Didolo there to chase a couple outside the zone, and great job. 1, 2, 3 said good morning, good afternoon, good night, and sent Didolo back to the dugout with nothing to show for it.
I'll bring Luke Miller to the plate. First pitch grounded over to Lugbauer at third. Crossfield throw in time over to Bivens at first with the scoop and the squeeze for the second out of the inning. 4 pitches and 2 outs for Tommy Henry.
Nice play on both sides of the diamond that time. Lugbauer charging, ranging over to his right towards the line, made a nice scoop there. The other end of the diamond, Bivens, you mentioned, with the little scoop there on the short hop. Looked like he might have had a bit of difficulty, almost short arm that grab if it's possible to do so. Had it tucked to his body as soon as he made the grab.
I'll bring the DH Matt Lloyd to the plate. First pitch called strike. And Tommy Henry has not yet thrown a ball. Righties with the 0-1. Swinging a drive into left field. Ranging back over towards the track is Lewis. And it's off the wall. Going for 2 is Lloyd. He will wheel in, sliding with a double. And boy, if it weren't for the long wall in left, that would have been home run distance for the designated hitter, Matt Lloyd. It will result in a double, though. And now the Hoosiers with another runner in scoring position and 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. They lead by a run.
You got to imagine Matt Lloyd, probably one of the happiest hitters in this Indiana lineup to finally not see Oliver Jaski. Struck out 3 times against Jaski. And in his first look against Tommy Henry here, was able to take that breaking ball away. Henry was going with the exact same strategy he got Didolo on, established the fastball that went off speed went with the breaking ball low and away. Lloyd knew it was coming and went the other way, put that one off that big wall.
Logan Sowers at the plate now takes the first pitch for a called strike, off speed, low in the zone. Count 0-1. Meanwhile, Lloyd takes a slight lead off of the bag at second. Henry looks down the pipe, gets the call from Wenson and delivers. Swing and a miss. Blew it right by him at 85. Count now 0-2 on Sowers.
You don't normally see that blow it by him on 85, but Tommy Henry's fastball has just enough movement, and hitters just have to keep in the back of their mind that breaking ball makes 85 seem like 93.
And the 0-2 pitch to Sowers. That one misses outside and perhaps a bit high. Count 1-2.
We saw Tommy Henry get a couple strikeouts on that pitch. The idea being that batters expect that to dip in there as it's assuming it's a breaking ball, but instead it hangs up there, a bit of a change-up type of look. Didn't get the chase there by Sowers.
Tommy Henry readies with the 1-2, the kick and the delivery. Swing and a miss. Tommy Henry gets it done on the mound for the Wolverines in the top of the 8th. 2 strikeouts, gives up a double to Matt Lloyd, but nothing further as the Indiana Hoosiers are again held scoreless. We head to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Hoosiers lead the Michigan Wolverines by a score of 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network.
And just another great outing by Tommy Henry. He looked in control on the mound, consistently pounding the strike zone. That's when he looks his best, and he's confident out there and just puts pitches exactly where he wants, whatever pitch he wants, really, and has those hitters flailing at the fastball, which, like we said, does not have supreme velocity, but does have that bit of movement, is made that much better by his curveball, which is just fantastic. So great job there by Tommy Henry to keep Michigan still within 1. They'll try to score a couple runs here and then turn it over to another lights out member of the Wolverine bullpen, Jackson Lamb, if they can do so.
And we will finally see a new pitcher on the mound for Indiana this inning. It's Tim Herron coming into the game. We'll get you the stat line on Herron here in just a moment. So far on the season for Herron, coming into this one, a 3.92 ERA and 39 innings of work. And he will come in relief in the bottom of the 8th. Opponents are hitting .289 against Herron. He has appeared in 10 games. This is only his 3rd relief appearance of the season. And boy, would he love to back up his teammate, Jonathan Stever, who has thrown an absolute gem through 7 full for the Crimson and Cream, the Indiana Hoosiers. Due up for the Wolverines here, it'll be Slater, Berdar, and Lugbauer, 2, 3, 4. No better part of the lineup to get an offensive burst going. As Slater steps into the batter's box and gets ready to face Tim Herron for his first offering here in the bottom of the 8th. Slater rests that bat on the shoulder, picks it up. First pitch from Herron, big cut and a miss on the inside with the fastball. Unable to catch up, 0-1.
And we'll see if Indiana head coach here, Chris Lemonis, is trying to go with the maybe a lefty-righty thing here with Slater at the plate and the righty Berdar on deck.
The 0-1. That one misses low. Count evens at 1 apiece.
The other part to factor in, though, is after Berdar is the powerful lefty Drew Lugbauer. So you may have to deal with that unfavorable matchup to Berdar, which looks even more unfavorable if Slater's able to reach here.
The 1-1 from Herron. Big cut again inside. Slater able to get a piece of this one and foul it back to the backstop. Count 1-2.
That pitch had enough movement moving in on Slater that he had second thoughts about swinging. Didn't quite give that one a full swing, but got a piece of it anyway, so will go down as a strike against him. The catcher Feynman discussing how exactly they want to try to put Slater away here.
Slater sits in a 1-2 count, trying to get something going for this Wolverine side in the bottom of the 8th. They haven't scored yet this game. The 1-2 pitch misses low and away. Count evens at 2 apiece.
It's a really tough matchup here for Slater. Normally struggles a bit against lefties, especially with breaking balls moving low and away from him.
The 2-2 from Herron. Swung on, looped over towards short. Houston makes the grab. The throw over to first, in time by a step. A strong throw from Jeremy Houston over to Gorski for the first out of the inning as Slater heads back disappointed.
Yeah, cannon shot off there by Jeremy Houston. That one a little bit of a higher hopper. Had to make a quick transition from glove to hand, and fire went over there. Did not disappoint with the firing part. Really showing off the arm. After a couple times today, he's bounced a few throws in there. That one bounced into Gorski, but looked much stronger out of the hand and needed that extra bit of oomph on that one to get Slater.
And that'll bring up Michael Berdar, the shortstop. First pitch to Berdar is well outside for ball one. Berdar's got 2 singles in this game in his first and third at-bats. 2 of the 6 Michigan hits on the afternoon. And the 1-0, that one is grounded over towards Houston again. A busy man at short. Another throw over to first in time. And another out. 2 now in the inning. And that's going to leave it up to Drew Lugbauer.
And with 2 outs in the inning here, I imagine Drew Lugbauer is going to try to tie it up here with 1 swing. Even against the lefty Heron, I'd imagine any fastball, the first fastball he gets, maybe the first pitch in the zone that he gets, he's going to be giving it the biggest hack he possibly can.
Lugbauer awaits the first pitch from Heron. Comes inside, decides not to swing. A good one to hit, 0-1.
Either that was deep pitch right there. He's going to regret not swinging at that one. Got a fastball in the zone with the first pitch and didn't take a swing.
And that one a swing shot out towards center, ranging over to make the play is Eustace, and that will end the inning for the Wolverines. We head to the top of the 9th. The Indiana Hoosiers lead by a score of 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Wolverines Sport Network.
So Tim Heron comes in relief and does just about as well as you can. One-ups Tommy Henry by just a bit, it seemed. The only really hard-struck ball. Wolverines are able to make some contact, but hitting it on the ground is one way to avoid putting runners on base. And even the hard-hit ball that by Drew Lugbauer, not quite hit hard enough to fall. Eustace showed off that speed yet again, ranging this time over to the right center field gap to make that play. Up to Tommy Henry again to keep this one within 1 for the Wolverines. He was able to come in last inning and do his job very effectively.
Michigan will have to keep Indiana off the board here in the top of the 10th, or in the top of the 9th inning, I should say, and then it'll be up to Lewis, Bivens, and Poirier in the bottom.
Henry getting to face more of the bottom part of the Indiana order this time around. I make it a little more favorable. Not that he had much trouble with the heart of the Indiana Hoosier order anyway. But if you're the Wolverines, you got to feel like Henry can go out here, give you 1 more inning of work, keep it within 1, and then got to score at least 1 to keep playing here.
And leading off here in the top of the 9th inning for the Indiana Hoosiers will be the first baseman, Matt Gorski. He'll be followed up by the catcher, Feynman, and the shortstop, Houston, 6, 7, 8. And Tommy Henry taking his time, getting set, adjusts the pant legs on the hill, settles, and is ready to go. The first pitch of the top of the 9th misses outside with a fastball, 1-0. And the 1-0 pitch, a called strike. Well placed there by Henry. Count 1-1.
It definitely seems like he's trying to stay away, missed away with the fastball first pitch, got the corner with the fastball on that second one.
The 1-1. Swing and a miss, very awkward and uncomfortable. That one came well inside, down and away at the feet of Gorski. Looking the fool, count 1-2.
The thing with that Tommy Henry curveball, though, is it starts right down the middle of the plate, and you get really anxious about it, and by the time you finish your swing, it's at your feet.
And the 1-2 pitch. Thought we might have had an appeal down to first. It is a strike 3. There was a quick hesitation from home plate umpire David Condon down to first base at Joel Hoskoda, and nonetheless, first out of the inning, strikeout for Tommy Henry, his 3rd of the game after coming in to start the 8th.
And right after he goes to that breaking ball that starts in the zone and moves down away near the feet of Matt Gorski, just paints a fastball right on the low inside corner. Gorski maybe expecting that one to dip again. It did not.
I'll bring up the catcher, Feynman. The first pitch was a ball. Second pitch grounded over towards second, fielded by Kerr. Throw over to first in time for the 2nd out of the inning.
Looking the part of possibly another quick inning here for Tommy Henry has come in and pounded the zone yet again. Only throwing 2 balls out of the So far, 16 pitches he's thrown. And really the only significant contact, that double back last inning that ended up not really amounting to anything. And Henry's effectiveness perhaps causing Jeremy Houston, already with 3 strikeouts on the day, to talk things over here with his third base coach.
And over at third base, it is Chris Lamanis. And stepping now into the batter's box is the shortstop, Jeremy Houston. Indiana on the cusp of a major Big Ten victory if they can hold on to win here. The first pitch to Houston misses low for ball 1.
And Houston came into this day only striking out 8 times on the season. Put up the hat trick so far against Oliver Jaski. Faces another tough lefty here.
And the 1-0 fouled back down the first base side, count 1-1. And they really do abuse the car alarm sound effect here at Ray Fisher Stadium.
It is one of their favorites to go to. Surprised they don't bring out the breaking glass sound effect as often.
The 1-1 swung on, foul back to the backstop.
It's always one of the favorites of a minor league team back near home where I am. Anytime a ball bounces off the booths up behind home plate, the breaking glass sound effect is used.
And now Houston in a 1-2 count. The offering from Henry. Swung on again, fouled back to the backstop.
Houston showing some life here. Just trying to avoid at all costs that golden sombrero. Does not want that honor bestowed upon him.
Strikeout, strikeout looking, strikeout for Houston, the 1-2. And he went, another strikeout. Golden sombrero for Jeremy Houston, and that'll end the top of the 9th for the Indiana Hoosiers. We head to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Michigan Wolverines trail by a score of 1-0. You're listening to Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Radio Network.
The golden sombrero sounds like a great honor, something you'd love to have. Not the case, as Jeremy Houston has found out today. As the inspirational video plays, Michigan's going to have to get something going here. They need to score at least one. It's going to be out to Miles Lewis, Jake Bivens, and Nick Poirier to do something here in this inning. Coincidentally, those were the 3 batters who came up in that 6th inning about the end, or pretty close to the end, of starter Jonathan Stevers' outing, when the Indiana defense decided they were going to make some game-changing plays out there. It was against these 3 guys. They were able to make hard contact last time out. Look to continue that hard contact here, and maybe the way baseball works, you keep hitting the ball hard, sooner or later you're going to find some holes. Michigan definitely hoping for that here in this inning.
Stepping back to the mound for Indiana is Tim Herron. The warm-up is just about complete here, as Michigan is ready to send Miles Lewis to the plate. It's final call for the Maize and Blue in the bottom of the 9th. The only run in the game was the second pitch of the game. Tony Butler took a pitch yard to left center. Miles Lewis now steps into the batter's box. Deep darkness in the Ann Arbor nighttime here, the lights shining down on Ray Fisher Stadium. Awaiting a resolution in this one, as Lewis awaits the first pitch from Herron. This is low, ball 1.
And you mentioned the only swing, or the really only run of the game, coming back on that home run back in the first. You know who hasn't homered in a while? Man at the plate, Miles Lewis.
The 1-0. Big cut, big miss. Count 1-1. Good pitch there from Herron.
He was going for that home run there. He hasn't homered since the beginning of March, all the way back on March 1st. As they get the crowd pumped here behind the dugout. And the Michigan dugout.
The 1-1. Swung on, grounded over towards short. The busiest man in the infield, Jeremy Houston, throws over to first, and he will get Lewis by a step for the first out of the inning.
That's the 5th play that Lewis has made, or rather, 5th play that Houston's made in the last 3 innings. Getting a lot of ground balls out there, which is what you want as a pitcher. You try to avoid giving up fly balls, because even a hardest hit ground ball has a much smaller chance of doing any sort of damage than the hardest hit fly balls and line drives.
And now Jake Bivens at the plate. Ready for the offering from Tim Herron. First pitch catches the outside part of the plate, called strike one.
Yeah, tough matchup here for Bivens, bringing that lefty in. Was able to see the righty Stever all day.
The 0-1. Swung on, grounded foul down the first base side.
And with the lefty Bivens and the lefty Poye at the plate, the matchup's not exactly in favor of Michigan here in the ninth. After Lewis, the switch hitter, made the first out of the inning.
0-2 count on Jake Bivens. The pitch from Herron swung on, foul down the third base side this time.
At this point, that's what Bivens' idea has to be here, is just stay alive, foul off those tough two-strike pitches, try to work the count as well as you can, and if you finally get one that you can do some damage, maybe drive one, that's the one you have to take advantage of.
And the 0-2. That one's high at the eyes. Count 1-2.
So we saw Herron do this earlier on against Johnny Slater, go up high. Let's go with the breaking ball down now.
The 1-2. Swung on, shot. Diving grab made over at first by Gorski. What a play again. This Indiana defense has kept them in the game all night long. And Michigan is now down to their final out here in the bottom of the ninth against the Crimson and Cream Indiana Hoosiers.
And the third time that the Michigan Wolverines have been robbed of potentially game-changing hits. This time by the first baseman, Gorski. Just amazed that was ticketed for the corner. That was a double, maybe even a triple there, depending on how well Sauer is able to make the play in the right field corner. Nevertheless, Gorski put to bed any thoughts of that.
Now it's on the shoulders of the DH, Nick Poye, as he fouls the first pitch back. The 0-1. That one misses outside. Count evens at 1-1.
Poye here just going to have to wait out the pitcher, Herron. Again, another tough lefty-lefty matchup. You just got to wait for one in the wheelhouse.
And the 1-1. Swung on, foul down the third base side. Poye trying to keep Michigan in this game. He has 2 home runs on the season. So far in this game, he does not have a hit. It was an incredible performance by Jonathan Stever for most of the game, and now Tim Herron has come in since the 8th inning and has equally shut down this potent Michigan lineup. They're down to their final strike. 1-2 on Nick Poye. The pitch, swing and a miss, and that'll do it. The Indiana Hoosiers take game 1 of a 3-game series off the back of fantastic pitching from Stever and the closer Herron, and they win by a final score of 1-0 here at Ray Fisher Stadium on a chilly Friday night.
Yeah, and like you said, fantastic pitching all the way around. Stever and Herron. Oliver Jaski and Tommy Henry, and as well as a brief appearance by Mac Lozier, did all they could from the Michigan side to try to keep pace, but it ended up being the very first swing of the ball game that was the difference. It was enough for Stever and Herron. Really can't really say much else other than just a fantastic job. They had the Wolverine hitters off balance, did a great job of really pounding the low and away areas against the Wolverine hitters, not giving them things they can drive and take advantage of. And they got out of here with a big win. Michigan will look to recover tomorrow, but Indiana's got to feel good about their performance, specifically on the mound today.
And Stever really protected by a couple of very nice defensive plays by his fielding team. And that'll do it for game 1 of a 3-game Big Ten Conference series here at Ray Fisher Stadium. For Austin Falco, I'm Jeremy Parks. Your final score in this one, the Indiana Hoosiers 1, the Michigan Wolverines 0. We'll be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock on WCBN Sports for game 2 of the series. You can tune in to hear Austin and Leo Blavin then. Until then, we as always leave you with a good night and a Go Blue.